Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
All of your sponsors, because I've dealt with a lot of them, they all have
Padre de los estudiantes porque
you trust them and you know you're getting a fair shake.
no clase.
Right now, toll free 1-855 FLA 3782. That's 1-855 toll free FLA 3782. Tell them Steve sent you.
Welcome. I'm not quite set up yet.
Longest running radio show, the Steve.
Was running late today.
To call the show toll free, dial 1
Friday.
Go gain 1. That's 1.
Hey Neil, good morning.
Or 1.
Almost noontime for you. All right. I literally just walked in, running a little late today. I've been up for hours and hours and hours, but had a lot going on this morning before I came. It's amazing how much you're going to have going on in the morning. Welcome to the program. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. That's right. That's what makes this the longest running radio show in the state of Florida. Oh man, Steve will be here with us today, and coincidentally, because we're on the cutting edge, we see the future of what's going on all the time here on the Steve Kane Show, and we plan accordingly. We are usually ahead of pretty much everyone else that you could possibly imagine, and one thing that we are above everyone on is, of course, the mask. The mask. All this talk about the mask and President Trump with the mask at the Ford plant. And guess what? We have an actual guest that was scheduled prior to this involving the mask coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. The only problem is I am live streaming on YouTube Live on my phone. Their number is on my phone, text messages. So I'm going to have to, during the break, without interrupting the live feed, get the number off my phone because I forgot to do it. But yeah, so we're going to talk about this. Trump wearing the mask. I wear my mask. I've got my mask right here in my hand. I wore it into the studio today. When I was in the drive-thru at Starbucks this morning and I ordered, the girl that took my order, the barista, said, "Could you please have some type of face covering on when you arrive at the window?" Which I already had on when I ordered. So I think it's just an automatic thing they're saying. But that's Broward County. You don't have those issues in Palm Beach County. But yeah, so I understand. But the president not wearing a mask, I know. The president not wearing a mask, okay, at the Ford plant. First off, he did wear a mask at the Ford plant. He did not wear a mask during the part where he was going to be taking questions from reporters. And there's a reason for that. And it was the right thing for him to do to not wear a mask at that point. Now, he did wear a mask and some type of face covering earlier, and there's photographs of him, which are in the Daily Mail that I put up on my Twitter. But the reason that President Trump should not wear a mask during the Q&A with the reporters is because the President of the United States serves many functions. There's many responsibilities of the President of the United States. One of the responsibilities of the President is to instill calm among the American people. And him wearing a mask while he's having a press conference doesn't make people feel safe. After all, we're all in this together. Stay safe. I hate that. I don't say that. I'm being sarcastic. But to make the American people feel safe, he doesn't wear the mask. Even if he thought he should all the time, he didn't wear the mask because that is not the message that the president should be sending. The president should be sending a message that he is confident, we are reopening, everything is fine, not go out there dressed like he's getting ready to do surgery or something. It's not the kind of messaging you should see. It's just not on television. So, there you go. That's my thoughts on it. Your thoughts on it are certainly welcome. I got some audio. We're going to talk about this today. The Attorney General of Michigan. Are there any men running Michigan? It looks to me like Michigan is like Bizarro World. It's a state run by women that are very insecure about being women and have to go out and act like they're tough and act like a man. You know, what's going on in Michigan with the governor and now the attorney general in Michigan, two ladies, they think being a leader is to try to be like a man, and they don't know what being a man is like, so they have a caricature of what a man is. We're going to we're going to speak to Ford. We're going to shut everything down. Screw you all. You know, it's really sad. A true feminist governor is someone like Sarah Palin when she was governor of Alaska. She didn't go around trying to be all tough and bully people around so she could appear to be a strong leader. Those of you in this listening, is there anyone here in Michigan or from Michigan in the listening audience? It's just very strange, these women. And the governor of Michigan, what she's doing here is trying to get the nomination for vice president. So she's going to stand by and punish the people of her state, keep them homeless and hungry and out of work as long as she possibly can, because everything's about her with her Sarah Palin accent. I've known a lot of people from Michigan. My friends from Michigan didn't talk like that. Is that a typical Michigan accent? Oh my goodness. I could not marry a woman that had an accent like that. Could you guys be married to a woman that had an accent like the governor of Michigan? I could not. Oh my goodness, that would drive me nuts. It's like Edith from All in the Family. All right, so we'll get into all this stuff. Our number, toll free from anywhere, 1-888-GO-CANE 1-888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call, 888-465-2631. I'm filled with energy, and I have not even had a sip of my overpriced Starbucks coffee. Oh, well, you know, there's some callers here on hold. Let's just see what's going on. Hello. Good morning. Oh, I hear you laughing. This must be Al. Yeah, that's Al, who's a complete lunatic. I heard a giggle. Did you guys hear that on the air? Oh, my goodness. What is it about this? All right, here he is again. All right, good morning. Is this Al trying to get banned from the show? Because if it is, yeah. You were laughing?
Yes, if anybody would marry a woman like her and then you said he has dumped her, and I said that's a pretty good connection point.
Archie! That's how the governor of Alaska or Michigan sounds, right?
No, I mean, it was a good person to bring up because the voice isn't that dissimilar from hers. But anyway, a couple things. How do you feel about Trump threatening to withhold aid to Michigan if they institute the mail voting by mail, that's mailing every single citizen a ballot?
I think that's awesome. You know, in California, I don't know how they're running it in Michigan. I've got some audio I'm going to play later from the House Madam. The House Madam. What's her name? Nancy Pelosi. They call her Madam Speaker, and she's Speaker of the House, so that makes her a House Madam, right? Nancy Pelosi was telling MSNBC last night that in California they're having same-day voter registration. Now, I'm opposed to this. You know, absentee balloting has been around for a long time, and it used to be absentee balloting, you had to show why you couldn't show up to vote, right? You were going to be in Europe or something like this. And now it's just part of the vote fraud operation of the Democrat Party. I mean, most of the vote fraud that you Democrats commit is done with the absentee balloting because there's no ID requirement. You don't even know if the people are real, if they're dead. You don't know anything.
The 8th District in North Carolina.
I don't care, 8th District, 9th District. I don't even know what the congressional district I'm standing in. When you mention names of districts, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
It was widely reported that in North Carolina, the Republican operative.
When was the first election you voted in for president? Who was running?
Carter.
Okay, where'd you vote at?
I voted at my local precinct, but the next one I voted.
Okay. So the first one you voted in your local was it at a school or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So why was that okay then? But now all of a sudden, when you Democrats are getting beat all the time, do you want to have same-day voter registration, vote by mail with no voter requirement?
You are familiar with the fact that Brad Pascal's internal polls say that Trump is going to lose, even in Texas, of all places. And you laughed at me when I voted.
Well, then you've got nothing to worry about. If Trump's losing everywhere, if Trump is going to lose everywhere, why are you going to such extremes to set up some vote fraud operation with no ID requirement, voting by mail? In the 2004 election, in the 2004 election, I showed up, it was Bush versus John Kerry. I waited in line for a long time, went to vote, and was not allowed because I had left my wallet in the car and I didn't have my ID, didn't have my state-issued photo ID. So I had to go out to my car, and they made me wait in line again because it was one of you Democrat poll workers out there. ID is important. ID is important. So you know what? I voted for Trump in the Republican primary a few weeks back here in Florida. And I had to show photo ID, and they took my ID, and they compared it, and they looked at their iPad and verified that I am the person on the ID and that the ID was legit. Why is it only Democrats that are looking for ways to get around the ID requirement? Do you oppose IDing for tobacco and alcohol as well at stores?
Of course not.
Well, why not? Aren't disenfranchised minorities, do they not? I thought the Democrats said that minorities, code for black people, don't have state-issued ID. So you want to disenfranchise minorities from buying alcohol and tobacco?
Well, the address is very...
No, excuse me. Why do you require ID? Excuse me. Why do you require ID to buy beer and cigarettes, but not to vote?
You have to have an ID to vote.
No, not if you're doing it by mail. There's no one there to check the ID, man. You can write anything down. No, it's ID-less voting. Nancy Pelosi said it's ID-less voting. Vote by mail. Who checks your ID when you're voting by mail?
License or your state ID.
There's no verification of anything. The person could be fictitious or dead. You just have to fill out the form. Let me ask you this. You've got this. You've got this narrative that you're a big-time political player, that you fly between Florida and D.C. When you fly, do you not have to show ID?
Of course.
Of course. Why do you have to show ID to fly, but you don't want to have to show ID to vote?
You keep on saying but you don't show ID.
Who checks your ID if you're doing it mail-in, Al? There's no one checking your ID who's an official.
What you're saying basically is if somebody's old and they have their...
What I'm saying is Democrats are frauds and tyrants, like the governor of Michigan with the Edith Bunker voice, okay? Like the Attorney General of Michigan who's trying to act like a man. Okay? And you're corrupt, and you commit voter fraud, and the reason you want to vote by mail is all this crap. So you can stuff the ballots with fictitious people and dead people votes. So and illegal aliens in California and other parts of the country. It's a vote fraud operation. That's what I'm saying. I'm not dancing around and talking about anything like you all. I'm saying it like it is.
Hardware is interested in...
Listen here, don't when you're up against the wall, don't start... I appreciate that you use the sponsors, but don't hide behind... come on. Be a man and butch up. The Democrats are looking to commit voter fraud. The reason they're pushing for it in California is because we flipped Katie Hill's seat Republican for the first time in 22 years. All right, Al, enough. Let's take our break. What time is it? It is 19 minutes after the hour. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. We'll take that break and be back. Don't you go anywhere.
Hardware Deerfield and BJ's Hardware wants you and your family to be protected during the coronavirus pandemic. And
Now listen, guys, I got to get a number off my phone that I'm live streaming on. If I lose the feed, I will restart it, okay? I forgot to get off, so I'm going to try to do it without losing you guys. Let's find out if I can. Back. Good. What did I do, just pause for a minute?
Protect all those around you. The other thing is, while you're home, why don't you get that honeydew list done? That painting project, or sprinkler supply, or maybe treat yourself to a new grill.
Wow, what a great deal. These bandanas are reusable because you can wash them. So stop into Ace Hardware in Deerfield, just south of Hillsborough Boulevard on the west side of US 1, and Beach Ace Hardware, located at 232 Commercial Boulevard,
By the way,
Rockdale by the Sea. And get your
unblocked
free
Jeff
bandana
Remain. That
at
was
Ace
a
Hardware.
mistaken block. So I don't see him in there, Jeff Remain. But I did unblock him yesterday.
That can lead to severe health consequences, including amputation. At the Soul Authority, at little or no cost, you can receive your very own therapeutic shoes and custom inserts. Medicare recipients are entitled to 1 pair of quality diabetic shoes and 3 custom inserts.
Welcome. Make sure you
Call the
subscribe.
Soul Authority today, 954-597-7060.
Hi, this is George Corey of the Soul Authority. In this time of social distancing and sheltering in place, many people have been forced to neglect their feet. We at the Soul Authority are making it possible for you to still take care of your feet while remaining in your home, as we will send a doctor to your house for all of your podiatric needs. The best part of all is that Medicare pays for this visit. So, if you're a Medicare recipient, give
What
the Soul
Kool-Aid?
Authority a call today at 954.
What I don't know what Kool-Aid it is, but whatever it is, it has lots of alcohol in it.
597-7060. Don't let social distancing stop you from taking care of your feet. Call the Soul Authority today.
Listen to the Steve King Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for W.
All right. Yes. Soul Authority. By the way, the house calls are available. The doctor, she will come to your house no matter where you are within the listening range of our radio stations. If you're listening on one of our 4 radio stations, the Soul Authority, the doctor, she will come to your house within the radius of our radio stations, but they're still open for in-office visits in case people are wondering. Oh, by the way, yesterday I went over to any lab test now of Boca, and I was tested for coronavirus antibodies. So, when I get the results back, I'll share it with you. Any lab tests now of Boca and any lab tests now of Coral Springs, the 2 advertised on the show. I went in for my coronavirus antibody test yesterday, and let me tell you this about any lab tests now of Boca. That was the most pleasant experience I have ever had when it came to getting lab work done. I did not even feel the needle. I didn't even feel the needle. I know. They are so good at taking blood. They're great with. Sometimes you go in, they got to stick you a couple times in some places. Not in any lab test now of Boca, and I'm told any lab test now of Coral Springs. Similar experiences over there. I mean, I did not even feel it. So anyway, I got my antibody test, which you all can do. If you go to any lab test now of Boca, any lab test now of Coral Springs, you can have the coronavirus antibody test over there, and I went in for mine yesterday. When I get the results, I'll share them with you. So if this is Al, I'm going to get sick. Let me just get rid of this. Good morning. Oh, thank the Lord. I was getting ready to block Al from calling in. Richie the bus driver. Hey, how you doing, Rich?
I want to address 2 things. First, voting, mail-in, and then polling. Why go polling first? The polls are a total farce. You're so far out, anything can happen in 6 months.
I don't really want to talk about the polls today. I know they've got these polls with Biden ahead. Does anyone believe that anywhere? Does anyone believe that?
With Hillary ahead.
Oh, yeah.
9 and 10 points.
6:30 p.m. on Election Day, the polls were predicting Hillary Clinton winning.
The exit polling. And people were asked coming out of the, who'd you vote for? And these Democrats are frauds. And so is NBC.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the ones.
And the exit polls always show the Democrat winning. In 2004, the exit polls showed Kerry winning, and he believed them, and he took his entire staff, John Kerry, in 2004, because after the exit polls came out showing he was going to be the president, he took his entire staff out to lobster lunch somewhere in Boston or something and told them all what their jobs were going to be in the White House. John Kerry, the ex-impulse. What a jerk.
Yeah, these people, they're like the Al's, and I mean, Al's such a moron. He says that we're all zombies to follow Trump. You talk about this guy, to call me a zombie. The Democrats are doing all these crappy things. He's gonna literally vote for a man who can't say a sentence without stuttering and evil.
Well, Liberal Al relates to that because he can barely say a sentence.
Oh my God.
I'm seeing you, Chuck.
You catch him, he starts talking about a sponsor. I mean,
I know. It's like an SOS.
the guy is such a fool. I give him credit for calling you up because nobody, I don't hear too many Democrats anymore calling your show.
No.
You don't hear any black callers. They're not.
Yeah, Tibet is our new caller of color. Tibet with the Jaguar.
Native.
He's black. He doesn't want to say it, but he's black.
Not white.
I saw Tibet didn't. If he knew, he didn't say anything. I only knew this because he mentioned his car. I saw Tibet when I was over at Friendly Tire and I saw the white Jag in there, and I was talking to Mike. I said, "Oh, that's a nice Jag," and I saw the owner of the Jag, and I didn't know it at the time. It was Tibet. He looked black to me.
And then to this voting. Okay, the voting from home. He said that this woman that wants to be vice president literally won the election.
The Michigan governor.
No, Georgia.
Oh, Stacey Abrams.
He said that she won. They still talk that crap. That there was voter suppression. Listen.
Yeah, the Hebrew Indian Israelite.
Exactly. The voting rolls because a lot of people didn't vote for years. Like my mother, may she rest in peace, she's dead 6 years. I bet you somebody's using her name to vote. I mean, it's just.
Oh yeah, I mean, I hear people all the time here in Florida because we have an elderly population, and there are people who will tell you they get their dead parents' ballots in the mail, and their parents have been dead for 15 years.
I'm still getting my mother's mail in this house. She's dead 6 years.
Yeah.
Bottom line is, Al, you're full of crap. Okay, totally full of crap. This is.
Well, you know what I realized back in 2000 when Al Gore was trying to steal the election, in Florida, the Democrats. What I realized, the Democrats knew they were trying to steal the election. Every vote count always had Bush ahead. Wasn't by a lot, but he was ahead in every vote count. Even when they went to Democrat counties and targeted Democrat counties to do recounts, Bush was always ahead in every count. And I realized at the time that Rick Siderman, who's also dead, right? But he was a conservative radio talk show host. Rick Siderman told me, he said, "Brian, the Democrats," remember how, he had a speech impediment, he's to talk like this, Rick Siderman. But Rick Siderman said Democrats, they know they're stealing the election or trying to, but they think that they represent the people. And when you represent the people, you're entitled to do whatever it is you've got to do for the people to be heard and to win. And that's how they rationalize it.
Get somebody that goes into a housing project, say an all-black community, an all-black housing project, and they say, "Hi, I'm
Steve Kane Show.
Democratic Party," and I'm sure it's happened.
Hey.
Do you vote? No, I don't vote. Well, would you vote?
I've been saying this for many years, and I would call on Governor DeSantis to do this. Let's look at every registered voter in the state of Florida who is over the age of 89, check those records with Social Security, find out how many of them are registered to vote that are dead, and then let's look and see how many elections they voted in while they're dead.
How many can you imagine mail-ins if a guy went knocked on the door and said, "You vote," and you said, "No, I don't vote. Can I take your address and name?"
I was a friend of mine that I started out in radio with when I was like 18 years old, does an FM morning show in Michigan, and they banned me from his show. Not him, but the state. They banned me from the. He's on another station now, but the station they banned me from his show. They used to have me on as a guest because they're an hour behind. The morning show went on a couple hours after we got off the air, and I was like the conservative nutcase, guest. And I pointed out some voter fraud that I uncovered in Michigan. Remember the woman in the garage? You've heard me talk about this. There was a woman, and this is what got me banned from my one of my oldest friends. He told me, Brian, they won't let me put you on anymore. And this is what happened. There was a woman in Detroit who was found dead in her garage. She was in her vehicle, and she had died of carbon monoxide poisoning, probably suicide. She had been dead so long, she was a skeleton. And while she was a skeleton in the garage, she was still voting in Michigan. Yeah, and that's what got me knocked off that radio. I was no longer welcome on that radio station in Michigan when I brought that up, and they got really upset about it that I was pointing out voter fraud in Michigan.
Yeah, you made a big deal in Michigan. There was a I'll bring it up again. Color made something because they seemed to go into neighborhoods. She was a black lady that voted for 8 people in her family.
Oh, the one that was Cleveland. In Cleveland, a woman voted at least 7 times. I can't remember how many times. 7 times. It was all, except for her own vote, it was all absentee balloting. And absentee balloting is where almost all of the vote fraud go. I have talked about this for years. I've uncovered the whole thing. And, if Tom Fenton is interested, I'll be a consultant and tell him what I know, and he can run with it. But, yeah. Oh, by the way, PJ out there, you know PJ from the cruise. PJ, I'm going to talk about this later. I did my podcast about this last night. PJ, who calls the show sometimes, is a very influential reporter with Newsbusters. And he broke a huge story on Amy Klobuchar, and coincidentally on the day that she's out there trolling that she's on the VP list. And we'll talk about this later. But PJ, if you're listening early on, give me a call. We'll talk about it. PJ has broken a huge national story. It's on the Gateway Pundit right now, if you go to the Gateway Pundit. But anyway, yeah, go ahead, Richard. I got to run, but finish up.
Kamala Harris is another one I watched. I mean, now if you tell the truth, you're a racist.
Well, I was talking a couple weeks ago that Kamala Harris is at the top of the Biden list because the Associated Press sent out a directive that the reporters are no longer allowed to use the word, term, phrase, mistress. And everyone knows that she got her first statewide post because she was having sex with the mayor of San Francisco, Willie Brown. She was a mistress to Willie Brown. Yeah, that's what. And I thought right then she's at the top of the list.
1 second more, okay? If President Trump was losing his mind like Biden, I can honestly say I wouldn't vote for him. I wouldn't vote for a man who can't think anymore. And if these people, that tells you how low they could be.
All right, Richie, take care. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll take our break and be back. Don't you go anywhere.
This is Steve Kane for attorney Barry Siegel. Barry did a great job for me and my family when we needed a revocable living trust. Listen to one of our listeners, Ray, talk about his experience with Barry Siegel.
I want to praise Barry Siegel. And one of the most important things about sponsors is integrity. And you have to know that you're dealing with an honest person. I had to go up to Myrtle Beach with my sister because her husband died, and I was helping her out.
I'm very well rested today, I tell you. I just barely touched my coffee. I went to bed early, which I never do. Woke up with my alarm clock.
Because I had a question. I let the secretary know. I said, look, I'm calling from South Carolina. I know the laws are different, and I'm just asking for information for my sister. Now, most people would just blow you off, right? Almost immediately, within a few minutes, Barry himself called me. I asked my questions and so on, and he answered. He was very patient. I was quite a while with him, and I talked about a lot of things, and this and that. But I wanted to say, character, integrity, these are the most important things with sponsors, and all of your sponsors, because I've dealt with a lot of them. They all have.
The phone went dead? Was that you on hold? Oh, I think it disconnected. I saw the lines go clear.
Attorney Barry Siegel right now.
Yeah, Jeff Remain is unblocked. That was a mistake. People wondering. So if anybody knows him, I unblocked him after the show.
1-855 toll-free FLA 3782. Tell him Steve sent you.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Gaines tires for his Toyota van. At the other shops, $175
Welcome, everyone. Make sure you subscribe.
At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges.
I'll take a look. I don't know.
Of good used tires too. Starting
I can't do it until after. I have to do it on my computer at home.
Buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive, and he will give you a great low price right over the phone at 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445.
Jeff is. I don't know about Jaeger. I'll have to take a look.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWN.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. Welcome back, one and all. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Just, I went to bed early, woke up when the alarm woke me up, and I'm so well-rested. Is this what being well-rested is? Well-rested is like? Is this what being... I stay up late, I wake up early, and, you know... Oh boy, I tell you, and it's just, I guess I'm well rested this morning. Lots going on. We're talking about everything that's been happening with Trump at the Ford plant yesterday. Oh, I went to the Boca Mall yesterday, the Boca Town Center Mall with my daughter. My daughter, you know, haven't been doing any shopping for 3 months, and my daughter needed some new clothes, and I took her to the mall to buy some clothes, and we couldn't buy any clothes because the clothing stores are closed. I couldn't believe how many stores at the mall are not open yet. Macy's was open, but she didn't want to shop at Macy's. But I don't know what's going on. They need to open these stores up. I don't know why. If we have anyone that works in retail at the malls, it might be early for retail mall workers, you know, at this hour. They don't get up this early usually. But why are the stores at the malls not open? The mall's open, but why are the stores not open? I suspect... It's what, you know, the president was talking about, you know, this week, is the unemployment's too good, and they've laid off their employees, furloughed them. They're getting the unemployment, and it's difficult to get them to come back to work when they may be making less money than they're getting on unemployment. That may be a part of it. I'm not sure, but I was pretty shocked. All right, well, let's get to some of the audio. You know, this Ford plant yesterday just has them in a complete meltdown. By the way, the president did wear a mask at the Ford plant prior to the press conference portion of it. He took it off then, which, as I said at the beginning of the show, it's appropriate. The president needs to show confidence, not fear. He doesn't want to go around like, you know, the what is that movie? The Andromeda Strain. We don't want him to walk around like in the Andromeda Strain or something, okay? We want him to show confidence he's out there. Plus, one thing, I'll play the audio in a second with the press, these vultures in the press, these low-life people in the press. The president is taking hydroxychloroquine. So he believes that he is safe because he's taking this as a preventative measure. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but he has a doctor that travels with him everywhere who prescribed this medication. So I think that's a big part of the reason he doesn't wear a mask. But the main thing is he doesn't want to show fear. He dresses appropriately. How often have you not seen him in a suit since he's been president? No, I wouldn't want to see the president wearing a mask at a press conference. I don't think that shows the right message to the world, to the country. So anyway, here's Trump at the Ford plant with these lowlives in the media yesterday.
Mr. President, there was a lot of interest about whether you would end up wearing a mask today. Could you just take us through your thought process of why you decided not to wear a mask?
I did wear. I had one on before. I wore one in this back area, but I didn't want to give the press the pleasure of seeing it. So where I had it in the back area, I did put a mask on.
Did you have the goggles on too as well, sir?
I did. I had goggles and a mask right there.
Well, why would you not be?
And here's another one.
Why would you not be wearing it?
Because in this area,
why would you not be wearing it here, sir?
Not necessary here. Well, everybody's been tested, and I've been tested. I was tested this morning, so it's not necessary.
But the executives are wearing them.
Well, that's their choice.
That's their choice.
I was given a choice, and I had one on in an area where they preferred it, so I put it on, and it was very nice. It looked very nice, but they said not necessary. Yep.
What about the example that it would set for other Americans?
Well, I think it sets an example. I think it sets an example both ways, and as they say, I did have it on.
Yeah, So he had it on. He should not have had it on during a press conference. That's not the image you want to see of the president. I'm sorry. I tell you. And, you know, and with all this discussion, I had this story at the beginning of the week. The CNN reporter, Caitlin, whatever the hell her name is, you know, the CNN White House correspondent that's there when Jim Acosta is not there. And there was that video of, she's the one that first brought up the mask with the president. And then after the TV cameras were off, she thought, she stood up, took her mask off, and showed that the mask was only for show on television, right? You guys saw that? Yeah, I know a lot of you saw it. I talked about it. I know a lot of you went and looked at it online. So, no, it is not appropriate for the president to wear a mask in those situations because he needs to show confidence. Like, you know, like for example, the president has all kinds of security around him, even as part of his clothing, right? And it's hidden. It's hidden, right? You know, and even the suits that presidents wear oftentimes are Kevlar, and they wear Kevlar jackets. Is it appropriate for the president to have his protection hidden that way? By the way, also, the security, the Secret Service, you don't see them too often either. Sometimes you see Secret Service, sometimes you don't. But the president wears his body protection, body armor, hidden. Would you rather him wear it outside of his clothing, like, you know, like the guys on SWAT? No, there's a reason for that. You want him to look like a professional executive, a businessman. So you have him in the suit. Same goes for this. He wears the mask when he has to in certain areas. He didn't want to show it on camera, but he's taking other precautions. And he was standing so far away from those executives. I mean, he was beyond the 6 feet limit. He wasn't anywhere near anyone, but he's taking the hydroxychloroquine. He believes, as does his doctor, and of course Democrats say medical decisions are between a patient and doctor, unless your name's Donald Trump. But the president and his doctor believe that he is taking the proper precautions. That's it. All right, let's go to the phones. You're on the radio. Good morning. Good. Mike in Boca. Hey, what's up, Mike in Boca?
Yeah, I was going to talk to you about Amy Klobuchar, but you kind of stole my thunder. That's why I hung up before. I heard that around 5 or 6 yesterday afternoon, there was a headline on Fox saying that allegedly Amy Klobuchar was vetted. But then you talked about PJ in his article, so I got to read it.
Well, what PJ made a, it's on the Gateway Pundit. He didn't write an article on Newsbusters. He made a video, which is at the Gateway Pundit right now. And, you know, PJ Gladney from Newsbusters, he called me on the air weeks ago when we were still at the old studio and said he believes Amy Klobuchar's husband was taking hydroxychloroquine because he had coronavirus and he recovered in about 5 days. And he was waiting for someone to ask, and he found an obscure interview with Amy Klobuchar where she said her husband, she thinks, took it. And he's getting a lot of national attention to this. And I don't know if it was a coincidence or not. You know, PJ's a pretty sharp journalist, but he happened to break the story about Amy Klobuchar's husband with the hydroxychloroquine with the audio from Klobuchar on the same day it was announced she was being vetted to be the VP. I don't know if that was a coincidence or not, but it worked out well, and he's getting it's getting tons of legs, that story.
Did you watch Tucker all last night?
I did not.
They talked about the Cuomo brothers, Fredo and Andy.
Oh, yeah.
And that stupid, that tasteless joke that they were running on live television with the Q-tip and all of that.
The what joke?
About the seniors. He was talking about seniors in New York.
Oh, blaming Trump for the... Yeah, in fact, I read this morning that more seniors died in nursing homes from coronavirus than people died on September 11th in New York.
Well, anyway, they're gonna get heat for that. And last night, something had on. I forget her name, but it's the woman who does the weather on Fox.
Oh yeah, I know. I can't think of her. Yeah, she's really good. And her did one of her parents
Her husband and parents both died. And
wow.
she's very.
You mean, wait a minute, her in-laws, both of her in-laws died from this in a New York nursing home? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
They would, well, long story short, she wrote like a 5-page paragraph on Facebook today, but she's a great, she's a non-political.
Yeah, what's her name? You guys know, I can't think of her name. I can't think of her name.
She told the story, I almost was crying.
Yeah, Janice Dean is her name. Janice Dean.
Whatever happened to her, it was very, very questionable.
Well, what I've read and by the way, everyone follow these stories in the New York Post. The New York Post does a lot of good reporting on what's going on in New York. My understanding is from what I've read in news accounts, and I only know what I've read in news accounts, is that Cuomo, to clear out hospital beds, sent seniors to nursing homes as part of the problem. And
If you want to get the replay, you should, because
no, I'll check it out.
it's
Yeah, and Janice Dean's good. She's really good. I like Janice Dean, and she's a nonpartisan person.
Yeah. On another note, on a lighter note, a friend of mine told me yesterday he was bored and he was watching Disney videos because he don't like Disney. So I shared them. I sent him your Disney video of opening of Galaxy's Edge.
Oh yeah.
And he loved it. This is great read. I told him, I said, yeah, this guy, I told him what you do, and you invoke it, and
Oh, I appreciate it. Hey, listen, if everybody in the listening audience shares the show with a friend, we'll explode beyond where we are. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, when I went and rode, I went to the opening of the Star Wars land. It's last year with my daughter, and when I stepped on the Millennium Falcon, if you watch it, I mean, you probably never see me happier in my life. I mean, as you saw me walking the.
you look like you were the first time your dad got you a bike.
Well, did you see? I had my action figures from 1977 of Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, and Han Solo, and I put them on the chessboard in the Millennium Falcon. Yeah,
I had the Millennium Falcon. I wish I still had it.
Yeah, I've got my Darth Vader carrying case with all my very worn out, heavily played with Star Wars action figures. I still have it. It's worth nothing because my daughter will bury me with it probably. Yeah. But yeah, I'm looking forward to going back there. But I'll tell you this, that new ride they have, Rise of the Resistance, when I got on the Millennium Falcon, a lot of these guys my age were crying I wasn't crying. I was just, you can say I'm touching everything. But when I went on that
Like a kid in the can.
But on that new ride they have, Rise of the Resistance, it is so real. It's like you're on a Star Destroyer, and the people that work there are in character as the Empire and the Stormtroopers. And we get on that ride, and the whole premise is you've been captured, and the Resistance rescues you. The door opens up, and the guy comes in, and he says, "We're with the Resistance, and we're here to rescue you." And I was tearing up. I was crying. I was with my daughter. I was with my daughter, and I was crying. I mean, it was like it was like when Luke went into the cell on the Death Star to rescue Princess Leia. But anyway, if I talk about Star Wars 10 seconds longer, Steve will kill me. But I'm going to Disney World this weekend. I'm going to Disney World this weekend. Yeah, I'm going to Disney Springs. Yeah, I'm going to Disney Springs this weekend. Yeah. All right, appreciate it. Hey, listen, if you're on hold, stand by, people. I've got to take the last break of the first hour, and then we'll be back with more of your calls after this.
The best night's sleep in the whole wide world is MyPillow.com.
You've heard the jingle and seen the commercials, and that's right. You will get the best night's sleep you've ever had with a MyPillow. Have you not gotten your MyPillow yet? Right now is the best time to do it.
That's right, Brian. Hey guys, this is Brian's wife, Kathy, and this is the best time to get a MyPillow. They have amazing deals. Take advantage of them now.
Go to MyPillow.com, click the radio listener link, and you will see all these great deals. Like the buy one MyPillow, get one for free. There's a BOGO offer right now on the Giza Dream Sheets. Buy one set of MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets and get the second set free.
You gotta love BOGO deals. They're the best, and you can take advantage of so many right now at MyPillow.com.
There's a lot of other deals too. Again, go to MyPillow.com, click on that radio listener link, and you've got to use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout to get these incredible deals. So go right now to MyPillow.com, click the radio listener special. Make sure to use that promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout to take advantage of all of the great deals. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879. Make sure to use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, 1-800-716-4879.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Dr. Matez, we talk about charisma. Hormone replacement pellet therapy brings back a lot of things in people, and one of the things I think it brings back is charisma, because I've met many listeners that are patients of Dr. Matez that I've met before they were patients of Dr. Matez, and I noticed a big difference. And one thing I noticed is a lot of confidence in guys after they start hormone replacement pellet therapy.
I agree with you 100%, Brad.
Yeah,
Get your mojo back. It's really
It
what it is.
changes your life. It changes the way you view the world. You know how I put it once? This was years and years ago. Looking at the world after having the hormone therapy, and you look at the world, and the world is like a Technicolor. And when you give up the hormone therapy, it's like watching the world in black and white. It's just an amazing difference. Life
That's
is
a
fuller,
fantastic analogy.
isn't it? It's true. That's a big difference.
It is. As we get older, we both physically and mentally break down, and we tend to get into a very black and white type of existence, a lot of people. Everybody's different. But when you get your hormone levels back and you get that vigor back, you feel good. Suddenly things are very bright and colorful.
And I experience this myself, and I see it on listeners, is I'll see a guy, and he's like, and then I'll see him after he has become a patient of yours, and with hormone replacement pellet therapy, he seems like he's standing up strong.
Liberal Al harass, you mean?
What is it about
Steve Kane
hormone
Show.
replacement pellet therapy that does that to guys?
I believe it's because you're you're putting God's nectar back into the body, basically. God gave us testosterone in particular to give us energy and strength and endurance and muscle mass. It's what makes not just men, it's what makes people. And a lack of it takes all of those things away from you.
So we'll meet with Steve Kane listeners at no charge?
Always.
What is the
Steve Kane Show.
call to make that appointment?
561-95-3449.
Al, come on. I'm going to have to block him.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show.
I'm going to have to block Al.
Radio.
All right, welcome back. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show. By the way, I just put on at the top of my Twitter, Brian Craig Show on Twitter, I put the video of me that Mike and Boca was talking about when I went to the opening of Star Wars Land at Disney World with my daughter last year. If you want to hear me scream and giggle like a girl, get emotional, and play with Star Wars action figures, go there and watch that video. My boyhood dream came true. All right, let's go to the phones. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, you're on the air. Hello. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Janice. I'm from Pompano Beach.
Hey, Janice in Pompano.
I just wanted to comment about the unemployment.
Mm-hmm.
I work in a preschool in Boca, which is still open, and so I was furloughed right when it all happened. So, like March 22nd or something like that. But in the meantime, so I kind of get what they're saying, I've been getting $197 a week plus the $600.
Plus the $600. So you get $797 a week for not working.
Yes.
Is that more than you make at the preschool? I'm assuming it is.
Kidding me? Yeah. And I make $732.
Oh, so your pay's been doubled, more than doubled
Oh, crazy.
by not working. Yeah.
So now, that's a whole other thing because that makes you crazier. But, however, that being said, as of yesterday, I got even though the school's still open, and I'm supposed to be getting my job back when they open. So there was 10 of us teachers there, and they kept 4, one being the director, the 2 assistants, and then one other person's worked there for 7 years. And because there's only 12 kids in the school now. So I don't know when they're gonna reopen full time, but yesterday through unemployment, I'm not getting my 197 now because if I apply for a job, okay, then which I already have a job. So I called. I was calling all day yesterday. It was like a 2-hour wait to try to speak to somebody because I want to figure out, you know. And it was like 2 hours late, and you can't have them do a call back. They won't do that. So you have to wait on the line for 2 hours.
Well, but you're still getting the $600 from the federal government. Yeah. Is it? Yeah. So you're really ahead of the game because if you're not working, your expenses are lower, right? You don't have to pay for food and gas at work and things. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
No, because I'm in that thrill, but I don't like it because I'm a person that likes to work, but I don't want to lose that, you know? Does that make sense?
No, it's you know what it's called? It's called human nature. And what you're dealing with is what liberals deal with. A lot of liberals have decided to live on some type of government assistance, and it's much less money than they could make working, but they kind of like it. You know, I mean, it's a sacrifice. I can't, I don't have as much spending money, but I get the loaf. And, so you're getting a little taste of the Democrat mentality, but it's human nature.
And that will end, the 600 will end on the 31st of July. And
well, my goodness, it's not even May 30th yet. So you've got April, May, June, all of July, and a week and a half of this month. My goodness.
Brian, it's crazy. That's why I understand. I mean, unless you've been through it, but it's thank God I have a treadmill in my house, and I go out back and just.
Now, is your husband working?
Yes.
Oh, he's working. Because, the reason I ask that is, my situation is different. I do most of my work at home. When we're not on the radio, I do, work at home. But, so my wife and I, throughout our entire marriage, have been together more than most people, okay? But, I mean, I'm hearing stories of families just having some of the worst times of their life because they're not accustomed to being together so much with the kids.
Yep.
And I think that this, a lot of people are like, oh, the baby boom, there's going to be a baby. I think there's going to be a divorce boom when this is over.
I agree. Yeah, so what happened at the beginning of all this was, for my husband, he works he's a blue-collar worker, but he's a little bit older, so he's 63, but he had cancer before a long time ago, and so then someone from his work, anyway.
Well, of course we're live.
They said, the doctor was like, oh no, you 2 weeks out.
Oh, I said April and May? She's got June and July. No, she's been out of work since April, getting it since April.
So then I went into work. I sent it right to my boss. It was like 5 o'clock at night. So I sent her the thing, and she's like, don't come in tomorrow. Of course not, because the preschool wasn't posted, It was all when it started. And then, that Friday night, she sent the thing, and
well, so in 4 months' time, you've made about 9 months worth of your normal salary for not working. I know you've made almost a year. Yeah, so yeah.
The school that I'm at, because of the ratio of the children, I was making $10.50 an hour, taking care of 12 children.
So when is the school expected to reopen? Are they usually open in the summer? Well, no. I mean, do you usually work during the summer, or are you off summers? Oh, yeah. I would imagine, because you've got till July 31st, so I would imagine when August comes around, it'll be open. But things are for more students because more people are going to be back to work, and schools are necessary to watch the kids.
It's an infant through 6 year.
Oh yeah, you'll by the time the government money runs out, you'll probably be back there working. I would imagine. So, yeah. But I mean, but what you're dealing with. So when I was at the Boca Town Center Mall yesterday, and most every store was closed, I did see like my daughter wanted to go to the Gap, and this was an interesting thing because the Gap was closed, but the workers were in there stocking, and I guess they had last season's fashions up in stock because no one had been in the store for 2 or 3 months, but the stores, a lot of these retail stores their employees are like you. They're making double their money not working. Yeah, and they don't want to come back to work. And if they come back to work, they lose that money. It's there's going to be a lot of people working off the books and still getting the money, in this country probably.
Yes, and I think, and you might have mentioned it on the radio show too, but I think you're right about, I used to work retail, like 15 years of it. Anyways, and but I think you're right. I don't know if you or Kathy brought it up about the clothes that were in the store before everything.
Yeah, my wife was telling me, she doesn't. People would be afraid to. There's some friends of mine that are YouTubers, and they do theme park YouTubers. They have this YouTube channel with like 100,000 subscribers. It's called Resort TV One. And it's a brother and sister. The brother's a school teacher, and they were in a store at Universal Studios last week, and the sister went to look at something, and he said, "Don't touch it. It's been there for 2 months. It was here before, Don't touch it." People are afraid to touch merchandise that was there prior to the epidemic, but it doesn't. It would be dead.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I went yesterday and bought new sunglasses, and the procedure to buy sunglasses is much different than ever before. They have a sunglass because you got to try them on. They have someone sanitizing the sunglasses before you try them on, after you try them on, and it's yeah. All right, appreciate the call. Got to run. Okay, so did you hear that, guys? She is making over twice her salary not working. There you have it. All right, 1 hour down. It's 2 minutes after 7, so less than 2 hours to go. This is Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. We'll be right back.
9.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
This is Lori Kane, and I want to tell you about Brighton Dental Care. I just had a lot of work done, and I avoided going to the dentist for a lot of years because I was afraid of the cost. But I went to Brighton Dental for my free consultation, which, by the way, he offers to all Steve Kane listeners. I had 2 cavities, I needed a crown on top and a crown on the bottom. If I were a horse, they would have put me down. So I scheduled my appointment for the next Saturday because Brighton Dental has Saturday appointments available, and they saved me a ton of money. And I will be a patient for life. Don't let cost stop you from taking care of your teeth.
Hey, Timothy Fox.
Dental gives Steve Kane listeners incredible discounts on all dental procedures, just like they gave me. Prices are so reasonable, you don't have to worry about the cost. So call Brighton Dental today at 954-922-4633. That's 954-922-4633. You can visit them at brightondental.com and tell them Lori Kane sent you.
Feeling old, tired, broken down? Dr. Matez can fix it. In 2005, Dr. Matez introduced South Florida to the amazing Hormone pellet. This safe and effective therapy
will thank you.
reverse the symptoms
Appreciate
of
the
aging
blessing.
and leave you feeling fantastic. Energy, sex drive, and weight control are just a phone call away. If you want to look good again, feel good again, and function good again, call Boca Raton Center for Age Management at 561-953-5490 or online at brc4am.com.
This is Steve Kane for Attorney Barry Siegel. He did a great job for me and my family when we needed a revocable living trust. Listen to one of our listeners, Ray, talk about his experience with Barry Siegel.
I want to praise Barry Siegel. And one of the most important things about sponsors is integrity. You have to know that you're dealing with an honest person. I had to go up to Myrtle Beach with my sister because her husband died, and I was helping her out. She had a trust and everything. She had not revised this trust since 1997. And Barry says every 3 years at least you gotta. I called Barry's office because I had a question. I let the secretary know. I said, look, I'm calling from South Carolina. I know the laws are different.
Hey, Neil, UK Neil, I just had this story I saw in the Daily Mail today. Prince Harry's going to have to wait in line to get his driver's license in California.
Barry himself called me. I asked my questions and so on, and he answered. He was very patient.
Getting your driver's license,
and talked about a lot of things.
Americans hate that more than anything. It's like an all-day affair.
Integrity. These are the most important.
Well, you give up the titles.
And all of your sponsors, because I've dealt with a lot of them, they all have.
That's what happens.
That you can trust them. You know you're getting a fair shake.
Do what Ray did. Call attorney Barry Siegel
yes.
right now. Toll free 1-855-FLA.
Yeah, make it wait. I hope we get to see a lot of footage of it.
1-855 toll free FLA 3782. Tell them Steve sent you.
You are listening to South Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll free, dial 1-888-GO-KANE 1. That's 1-888-GO-KANE
It is, yeah.
1. And now, here.
All right, hour number 2 has begun. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. I was just reading in the Daily Mail this morning, Prince Harry is going to have to wait in line at the DMV in California to get a driver's license. And I was talking in the chat about this during the break. I think what Americans hate doing more than anything is getting their driver's license. And that is not a lot of fun, you know, waiting in line all day. And I really hope that we see a lot of footage of Prince Harry waiting in line. This is when you give up the titles. This is what happens. You got to wait in line like the rest of the serfs. But this is what I'm curious about, because Meghan Markle, she's going to have to get hers updated as well. She'll have to go with him. Even, I don't know if she had a U.S. driver's license before, because she filmed her show in Canada. And what I'm interested in with Meghan, the princess there, what will she put on the ID for race? Right? Will she put on black? Other? I'm curious about that. So I know TMZ will probably cover this since it's in Los Angeles. So that's what I'm most interested in, anything. What she puts down. There's only one time I did not have to wait in line at the DMV. I went to the DMV and got a number, and the girl working at the DMV I went to high school with. And boy, I was in and out in about 3 minutes. It was beautiful. I couldn't even remember her name. But I didn't let her know I couldn't remember her name. It was very nice of her. That was many years ago. So anyway, welcome back. Oh, man. And it's hour number 2. It's Friday. We will not be here live on Monday. It's Memorial Day, so we're going to run a best of show on Monday. We will be back live on Tuesday. And this is Monday will be my first day off, I think, since Christmas, New Year's period. And I don't know, was Christmas and New Year's over a weekend this past? I don't know, but so I'm looking forward to having Monday off. I'll get to sleep in. I'll wake up at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. or something. That's what happens on my days off. But after the show today, I'm getting my daughter. My daughter's taking her first out-of-town trip in the coronavirus era. So after the show, I got to race out, pick my daughter up, and take her to let her go on her travels. That's why I was taking her to go shopping yesterday for some clothes, but the clothes stores were closed. Oh, and I got to tell you, yesterday, I went over to Any Lab Test Now with Boca and had my coronavirus antibody test done. I don't have the results yet. When I have the results, I'll share them with you, absolutely. And I'm guessing I want to have the antibodies, right? Do I want my coronavirus antibody test to be? Well, you know what? Even if it's negative, that's a good thing, because if it's positive, if I have the antibodies, okay, if I have the coronavirus antibodies, that means I'm immune and I don't have to take all of the precautions that I would take now, right? I'm immune. But if I find out I don't have the antibodies, that's good too, because that means I got to keep doing everything that I'm doing. But let me tell you this, okay? I was at Any Lab Test Now of Boca, where my wife and daughter go regularly for lab work. And the experience I had at Any Lab Test Now of Boca yesterday was the best experience I have ever had when it comes to getting lab work done. It was painless. It was painless. When she stuck me with the needle, I didn't even feel it. In fact, I videotaped it on my, I recorded it on my iPhone because I'm making a video for my YouTube channel about getting my coronavirus antibody test at Any Lab Test Now of Boca. So when I get the results back, I'll do the conclusion of the video and you'll see it. I mean, it was completely painless. So let me tell you, if you need lab work done, Any Lab Test Now of Boca, and she trained the person at Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. Totally painless. My wife told me this. My wife told me when she goes to Any Lab Test Now of Boca, it's always one stick, it doesn't hurt, and boom. And my wife's had more lab work done than most people. And she was telling me when she's at the doctor's or been to other places, they have to stick her 2 or 3 times. And Beatrice, that's who's over at Any Lab Test Now of Boca. One time, boom, in and out and painless. But they are offering the antibody test at Any Lab Test Now of Boca, Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. The number I give you is the Boca number. If you have any questions, give them a call. They open at 7, so they're open right now. And that antibody test, I think everyone should know if you have it or not. Either way the test comes out, it's very helpful information. Okay, the number, if you have questions for the Coral Springs or Boca location, 561-237-5009, 561-237-5009. Any Lab Test Now of Boca is in the Sandalfoot Plaza where the Western Beef is. That's between Palmetto and Hillsborough on the east side of State Road 7. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs is on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood by the Coral Square Mall and right across the street from the Ramblewood location of Wings Plus. So, yeah, go in there for any of your lab work. They're open on Saturdays, by the way. No doctor's order, no prescription. In and out in 15 minutes or less. And I know there's a lot of Any Lab Test Nows, but only 2 are advertising on the Steve Kane Show. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs and Any Lab Test Now of Boca. And when I get my antibody result back, I will share it with you. I promise you. All right, so here we are. We are back. So guess what? You'll never believe this. The media are actually attacking our president. Jeez. I know, they're attacking our president. I'm going to play some of the audio about this. I played the audio of him at the plant. And if you're just tuning in, I'll just recap. The president went to the Ford plant yesterday. And during the press conference portion, he wasn't wearing a mask. The media had a meltdown. He was wearing a mask and some type of face shield earlier when he was touring the plant. But during the press conference portion, he removed all of that because he doesn't think he needs it because he's on hydroxychloroquine. But he also doesn't want to show that image as the president, right? As I said, the president wears body armor, but it's always hidden. Have you ever seen it? No, never. And you know what? You never will. Because that doesn't send a sense of security and confidence. Right? Same goes with this. So, Michigan is being run by feminists. I don't know what's going on in Michigan. They've got a lady governor and they got a lady attorney general. And, the attorney general of Michigan, she's as bad as the governor. And the problem with the ladies that are running Michigan is that they're trying. The thing with feminists is to portray being a strong woman. Being a strong woman. We had a lady attorney general here in Florida. Her name was Pam Bondi. And she was very well respected and hot for a politician. Skinny as hell. I saw Pam Bondi at the Trump rally. I'd not seen her in person in a long time. She weighs about 63 pounds. She's very skinny. But, and of course, Sarah Palin. And Sarah Palin and Pam Bondi, much different than the governor and attorney general of Michigan. These are feminists who want to show female power, and they think to show that they're a strong woman, they have to act like a man. And the problem is they're not a man. So what they end up doing is portray a caricature of what they think a man is. And the governor who is trying to get the VP nomination is, I've been talking about this the last week. I think what the governor of Michigan is doing is she's talking about, well, in her mind, in private, she's telling herself that if I were a man, they wouldn't be pushing me around this way, and I'm going to stand up to them. Now the lady attorney general was on television last night. She's talking about some type of discussion, an official discussion between the Office of Attorney General of Michigan and Ford about them not requiring Trump to wear a mask. He's the president of the United States. Ford Motor Company doesn't demand the president of the United States do a damn thing. But this is how sick these people are. You know, and you can be a strong female respected leader like Pam Bondi or Sarah Palin without bankrupting the people in your state. And I might play some of the Attorney General later because it's just it's really sad. I just got a message from PJ. You guys know PJ from Newsbusters. PJ from Newsbusters broke a huge story on Amy Klobuchar yesterday, and he broke a story, something he suspected for a while, and he finally got some proof. And PJ is going viral over at the Gateway Pundit this morning. I saw his breaking news on the Gateway Pundit, so we'll get into that. And oh man, I've got some great audio today. I even scratched the surface. Mika Brzezinski's having a meltdown. Nancy Pelosi is trying to steal the election. I mean, there's craziness going on, and we're only here till 9. So we got to rush things along. Good morning. You're on the radio.
Oh, hi. It's Janice again.
Oh no, one time per day, Janice. But you got on, so be quick. Real quick. Oh, well, great. Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Okay, that's worth a second call.
Right, and then I'm in Pompano, but I live really close to Ace Hardware store, which is awesome. And
Ace Hardware Deerfield on Federal Highway, just south of Hillsborough. They are. That's great. Wait, that's great. So you're getting tire. Are you at Friendly Tire? Are you getting new or used tires?
New.
Mm-hmm.
Great is that so it's for a Dodge Ram pickup truck, and he said if you pay cash.
Oh, that's great. Oh yeah, I've painted almost the whole inside of my house since Ace. My wife's favorite sponsor of the Steve Kane Show is Ace Hardware, because I spend my weekends doing work around the house on projects I otherwise wouldn't do. And by the way, for people that wonder, I do pay for everything that I use. My tires, my Ace Hardware things that I use at Deerfield Ace Hardware, Beach Ace Hardware. I do pay for everything. It's not on trade, just like you guys. But you know, the prices are so low that, I'd be embarrassed not to pay. Well, mostly, I'll tell you how we found both of them. Friendly Tire, I found Friendly Tire about 12 years ago when I had a four-wheel drive Jeep, and first time I had to buy tires, and I found Friendly Tire. And I went over and bought used. I went over there, and Mike, he said, "Do you want new or used?" And I said used, because I knew he had, because four-wheel drive Wrangler tires pretty expensive. And I didn't even get a quote on new tires. And then I went back a year or so later, and he gave me a price on new tires. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" So I was a customer of Friendly Tire, Ace Hardware Deerfield, and Beach Ace Hardware. Frank is the owner of both locations. We met Ace Hardware through a listener by the name of Ray. Not Ray that's in the Barry Siegel commercial. That's another Ray, but another Ray. And he knew Frank at Ace Hardware. And he used to work for Ray, and he introduced us to Frank, the owner of Deerfield Beach Ace Hardware, and that's how we found them. Yeah. So I appreciate that. Well, yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. You cannot beat the price. Let me tell you this, at Friendly Tire, on new tires. Oh, Mike at Friendly Tire? Yeah. Yeah, and this is he's 28 years last week, 20th anniversary, same location. Yeah, and we have listeners that drive an hour each way to buy tires at Friendly Tire because the prices are so low.
And other thing, just before I hang up, so I know this is my second thought, but the guy, so after I tell my husband about this place, he says, he goes, diagonal from where we live, this guy restores cars all the time, and he's like, have you ever heard this, my wife tell me about Friendly Tire, on the Steve Kane, and he's like, oh yeah, I use them all the time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Great prices. Well, I appreciate it, Janice. Well, thanks so much. Yeah, so Friendly Tire, by the way, if you want to get a quote, give Friendly Mike a call, 954-977-9445, 954-977-9445, friendlytire.net online. You can't find better prices on tires anywhere, and that is a fact. All right, now let me just take a quick break because I'll kind of count that as part of the break. So we'll take a quick break and be right back, and I'll jump into the audio sound bites. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, this is George Corey of the Soul Authority. In this time of social distancing and sheltering in place, many people have been forced to neglect their feet. We at the Soul Authority are making it possible for you to still take care of your feet.
I'm going to have to block Reaper. I've answered that.
As
Yeah,
we will
it's
send a
condenser mic.
doctor to your house for all of your podiatric needs. The
Of
best
course,
part
it's
of all is that
you
Medicare
can tell with the
pays for this
XLR
visit.
cable.
So if you're a Medicare recipient, give the Soul Authority
And it's
a call
also
today
it's
at
directional mic too.
597-7060.
Only gets what's in front of it.
954-597-7060. Don't let social distancing stop you from taking care of your feet. Call the Soul Authority today.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show. So I think, let me see. I've got so much audio to play. Let me go through my list to myself here. Which one should I play first? Let's see here. Which one? Where is that? Where is that thing that I want to play? I got so much. I don't know which one to choose. Let me go through this one because I was talking about it before the break. The Michigan Attorney General who thinks being a strong woman is to act like a man in her way, and she doesn't know what a man is like. You know, a lot of times I'll hear liberal shows. Sometimes it'll happen here. You'll get a fake caller pretending to be a conservative, right? A liberal pretending to be a conservative. And they're exposed almost from the moment they say hello. And the reason that is they don't know what a conservative is really like. They have a caricature of a conservative, right? And that's how they always get exposed. Not just here, any time they pull this. And that's what I kind of mean. The governor and the attorney general of Michigan, these two strong, powerful women, hear me roar, they think being a strong woman is acting like a man. The problem is they don't know what a man is like. They have a caricature of a man. They probably are married, but their husbands probably are, soy boy types. I don't know. But this is the Michigan Attorney General. She's talking about the legality of Trump not wearing a mask at the Ford plant.
Let's continue the discussion right now with Michigan's Attorney General.
This is Wolf Blitzer.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. You said right here on CNN that if President Trump doesn't wear a mask, he'll be asked not to return to any undisclosed facilities in your state. Is the president no longer welcome in Michigan?
Well, I will say, speaking on behalf of my department...
Oh, she's got that accent too. Is that how people in Michigan talk? Hey!
...of my department and my office... That's right. That's exactly right. I mean...
Wow. So the Attorney General of Michigan said that President Trump is no longer welcome in Michigan. Wow. Well, I've got news for you. Michigan went for President Trump. How did these ladies get elected? Trump took Michigan. I feel so sorry for the men of Michigan. Do all of the women have that accent in Michigan? Do the men have that accent? I've known people from Michigan, but only guy friends of mine, none of them sounded like that. Oh. You'd have to go somewhere else to... I couldn't be married to a woman with that accent. So anyway, yeah, so she just said that the President of the United States is not welcome in Michigan. See, this is the Democrats. It's 1860 all over again. They're trying to leave the Union, the Democrats again, and form their own confederacy. The president is not welcome in Michigan, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, California, and she goes on later on. This the Attorney General of Michigan.
Governor, and you have an Attorney General who do, and we are going to do everything in our power to protect you, even if you have a president who won't.
Wow. See, they're going to protect you, even if the president won't, and you won't protect yourself. We are going to protect you. We're with the government of Michigan. Oh, my goodness.
Who won't?
Because you actually have threatened action against any company or facility, for that matter, that allows the president inside without a mask. So will this Ford plant, for example, face any consequences?
Well, I think that we're going to have a very serious conversation with Ford in the event that they permitted the president to be in publicly enclosed places.
Now, see, this is interesting. So the Attorney General of Michigan believes that she and Ford Motor Company have authority over the President of the United States. That's what she's saying here.
Facility, for that matter, that allows the president inside without a mask. So will this Ford plant, for example, face any consequences?
Well, I think that we're going to have a very serious conversation with Ford in the event that they permitted the president to be in publicly enclosed places in violation of the order. They knew exactly what the order was.
Yeah, permitted. See, Michigan, there's this new Confederate States of America. The president is Andrew Cuomo. And there's competition. Who's the vice president? Is it Governor Newsom? Is it the Michigan lady with the accent?
They permitted anyone, even the President of the United States, to defy that order. I think it has serious health consequences, potentially, to their workers. And this was a lengthy negotiation and discussion between the UAW, the big three auto manufacturers, and...
the United Auto Workers. You mean the United Auto Workers that forced all the jobs to China? So the United Auto Workers, the big three automakers, the Attorney General and Governor of Michigan are going to decide where the president is permitted to go?
Our governor to ensure that people, if they went back to work, they would be safe. And this was safe. And this was a promise. It was a commitment that was made by the big three to our auto workers who have been getting sick and who we just opened up these plants again. Just on Monday, Ford already had a few plants that had to close down because people were testing positive again. The last thing we want to see is for this particular plant now to have to close its doors and shutter its doors again because someone may have been infected by the president.
The president has been tested. He was tested that very morning. He's tested pretty much every day, and he doesn't have anything to infect people with.
But it also sends a message that anybody can do whatever they want because look.
Yeah, in America, we have freedom of movement. I'm sorry, the Attorney General, people are going to start to think they can go where they want, when they want, how they want. Oh my, do only the women have this accent in Michigan? Because I've been hearing that barber from Michigan, that guy on TV, he doesn't sound like that. Oh my God, the poor man, I feel so sorry for the men of Michigan. I'd be working all day in a plant too, if I had to come home to that. But you know, what she just said there at the end, people are going to start to believe that they can go where they want, when they want, and how they want. And we can't have that. It's not safe. That's what she says.
Opened up these plants again. Just on Monday, Ford already had a few plants that had to close down because people were testing positive again. The last thing we want to see is for this particular plant now to have to close its doors and shutter its doors again because someone may have been infected by the president. And that's a real possibility, but it also sends a message that anybody can do whatever they want because look.
See? And this is what the Attorney General just said of Michigan. The president is sending the message that people can do what they want, when they want, and go where they want. She doesn't even hear herself speak.
It's a terrible message to send. It's incredibly disappointing, and it's very disrespectful to the people of our state.
You know, his explanation when a reporter asked him, why
Steve
don't
Kane
you
Show.
wear a mask? What's the big deal? Why not wear a mask? And his explanation, and I want your reaction to this, Attorney General. He said, I didn't want to, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, I didn't want to give the media the pleasure.
Steve Kane Show.
The pleasure, he used the word pleasure, of seeing me wear a mask. What's your reaction to that?
Well, it's my reaction to many of the things that we hear Donald Trump say, and that's that he is a ridiculous person, and I am ashamed to have him be president of the United States of America.
Oh, okay. Well, she's ashamed. It's okay, and he can't go where he wants. By the way, she's not wearing a mask. Blitzer's not. Why isn't Blitzer wearing a mask? She's the Attorney General's not wearing a mask. Why are they? I love these maskless people saying that the president's not welcome because he didn't wear one. Good morning. You're on the radio. Debbie in Wisconsin, yes. Hey, Debbie in Wisconsin.
Yeah, Detroit's neighbor. I must say, these Democrats, they got the brain of a paper bag. What is wrong with them? I mean, you can't even control yourself when you're listening to them.
Well, yeah, the Attorney General of Michigan said the president is sending the message that people can go where they want to go, when they want to go, and how they want to go. We can't. That's a terrible message, she says, in America, that people have the freedom to go where they want. Now, listen, in Michigan, do only the women have this nails on a chalkboard accent, or is it the men too?
I don't know. I think it's a little mix of both, perhaps.
I could not be married to a woman from Michigan if they all sound that way. Oh, my goodness.
I couldn't either. My God, she would just drive me nuts.
Well, here's the thing, though, that and seriously speaking, because I don't want people to think I'm joking around here. Both of these women, the governor and the attorney general, and I'll ask you as a woman, they think being a strong woman is to act like a man, and they are acting in a caricature that they believe a man would react.
Well, if I would want to act like a man, then go get a sex change.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on. Trump won Michigan. How do they have two women running the state that are Democrats?
That might end at the next re-election. Who knows? I mean, people are getting tired of their behavior.
Well, what's going on with the governor? The governor of Michigan doesn't give a damn about anyone. If you're not working and you can't feed your kids, she's got a bigger agenda here. She's trying to elevate herself. She wants to get the vice presidential nomination and elevate herself in the party. And I got news for you. She's not electable, maybe not even in Michigan anymore, because the way she has acted, she's acting like Stalin is how she's acting.
Any lab tests now and get blood drawn to see which chemicals are missing in her brain.
Yeah, I mean, she is a totally self-centered person. She is trying to become more powerful and more influential and become the VP of the United. She thinks she has an opportunity to become a nationally elected politician, and she is making her people suffer needlessly. I heard the barber, right, the Michigan barber that's all over the news, who, by the way, does not have an accent, and he sounds like me, okay? I have an American accent, not that thing. And he was talking, he won a court ruling, and a judge ruled yesterday that there has been no medical connection made between cutting hair and spreading of corona.
No, I had my first hair appointment this Sunday. Otherwise, I have to wait until the second week of June, so I had to take Sunday's appointment.
Let me tell you, when I got my haircut we've had haircuts available for a week, almost 2 weeks here in Florida, and I know this sounds so ridiculous, but it's true. When I got my haircut and I walked out of there, I felt like free. It was like a liberty moment. It really was, because we weren't able to get them. And Americans, we're not accustomed to not being able to do what we want to do.
You're lucky to have gotten it, because who knows what the Democrats will do next.
Well, I have noticed, when I see the governor of Michigan and the attorney general, I know they're not old for politicians, but at the age they have, believe me, they're getting their hair done. I don't see any roots showing. You know what I mean? And yeah.
They're that too with the media. They can all get their hair done.
Nancy Pelosi is 80 years old. Do you think that? And I haven't seen one gray hair on her head throughout all of this. She's getting her hair done.
Yeah, she would be fully gray or white.
Yeah. She would certainly have a lot of, yeah, exactly. And same thing goes for these women in the news. I don't see any of these women in the news, even the New York news people on the national news, that have any roots showing. They've all been getting their hair done. And the coloring that I've seen is not off the rack at the drugstore. It's professional hair coloring I've seen on these news ladies.
Well, I had one bothering to get mine, and it was like toilet paper. I mean, I'm surprised how many people are like trying to do this themselves.
Yeah, and the coloring never looks right. The out of the box on the rack at the drugstore isn't the same type of color you get at the stylist. It's you can tell. You can tell.
And age you can go green or whatever.
Go green?
Like your normal walk. Well, I'm not saying mine's green. I have brown hair. But I thought, what if it turns green? And I thought, well, or pink, I'll look like the...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, all so I would, Governor Whitmer in Michigan, she does interviews all the time. And the one question I've not heard her asked was, when is the last time you had your hair done? By someone other than you. I've never heard anybody ask her that. I believe me, she's getting her hair done, and whoever's doing her hair should be interviewed because I don't know, are the 80s back? I mean, that hairstyle she has looks like, it reminds me of the girls when I went to high school. It's like my yearbook back in '88. Yeah, that's all right. Take care. All right, take care, Wisconsin. Let's take our break for the bottom of the hour. I'm Brian Craig. You are listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. We'll be right back.
100.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN
that's the Trump train.
Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
This is Steve Kane for attorney Barry Siegel. Barry did a great job for me and my family when we needed a revocable living trust. Listen to one of our listeners, Ray, talk about his experience with Barry Siegel.
I want to praise Barry Siegel. And one of the most
Pelosi
important things about sponsors is integrity. You have to know that you're dealing with an honest person. I had to go up to Myrtle Beach with my sister because her husband died, and I was helping her out. She had a trust and everything. She had not revised this trust since 1997. And Barry says every 3 years at least you gotta. I called Barry's office because I had a question. I let the secretary know. I said, look, I'm calling from South Carolina. I know the laws are different, and I'm just asking for information for my sister. Now, most people would just blow you off, right? Almost immediately, within a few minutes, Barry himself called me. I asked my questions and so on, and he answered. He was very patient. I was quite a while with him, and I talked about a lot of things, and this and that. But I wanted to say, character, integrity, these are the most important things with sponsors.
Well, the broadcast I do is for the radio. If you're new, we're on 4 radio stations, 3 FMs and an AM station. And we also are on iHeartRadio and things like this. So everything I do is for the radio listener. This live feed I just do on my iPhone. Steve Kane Show. Hey, PJ.
95.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
You're stuck in your home and the dog days of summer are coming. It's already happening on the hot days in the late afternoon and early evenings. Your air conditioner is running more and more and may even run constantly, struggling to keep your home cool and hold the temperature that you have it set on. And in some homes, it can't even keep up, losing the battle. And the temperature in your house climbs and you're hot, humid, and uncomfortable. And to top it all off, your electric bill is about to double or even triple. Here comes summer. The cure is reflective and or blown insulation. Stop the heat gain and cut your electric bill up to 35% off. Act now and get the pandemic special, our off-season sale. Act now. Save 50% on reflective and or blown insulation and cut your electric bill
Make
up
sure
to
you subscribe on
35%.
YouTube, people.
Call Scott from cutmykilowatts.com at 954-939-1500. That's 954-939-1500. Cutmykilowatts.com. Put your house in the shade today.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search.
All righty, welcome back, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, the longest-running radio show in the state of Florida. That's right, on the radio since 1977, when Star Wars was in theaters during its first release. Welcome back, everyone. So, on the line, I was waiting to bring this up until he called in because I knew he would. PJ Gladney. PJ's been a friend of mine for a long, long time, and he's a very influential member of the media. He writes for Newsbusters, and he also has a YouTube channel, Dummy Funnies, on YouTube. And I got PJ on the line, so PJ, let me do a little setup to this, and then we'll go to you to talk about it. But PJ called me up a few weeks ago, several weeks ago, because we were still, I remember the call, and we were still in our old studio. And PJ suspected that Senator Amy Klobuchar's husband had taken hydroxy, you know what it is, hydroxychloroquine. Sometimes I can say it, and sometimes I don't know what it is. Sometimes I can say it, sometimes I cannot. But anyway, he suspected she was taking it because Amy Klobuchar's husband had coronavirus and recovered in about 5 days. And he found a clip of an interview that Amy Klobuchar did. And let me play that clip, and then we'll go to PJ, who's on the line. PJ's going viral this morning. He's in the Washington Examiner. His video is featured at the Gateway Pundit right now. This is the clip of Amy Klobuchar that PJ uncovered.
Has it influenced your thought process relative to the discussion or debate about hydroxychloroquine?
I think that I looked at the science there. I believe he did briefly take that drug.
Oh, there you go. Amy Klobuchar says she believes her husband briefly took, he took it until he recovered. He took the prescribed dosage. You don't take it forever. And President Trump said he was taking it a few days ago, and of course the media called him a denier of science. A denier of science. And Amy Klobuchar admitted that her husband, while sick with coronavirus, took hydroxychloroquine and recovered. And the man who suspected it and broke that news, we got on the line, PJ Gladney, going viral and all over the place. Hey, PJ.
Yeah, hey, I believe he took it back. You know what? Some people said, well, she didn't actually say it. I said, come on.
Please.
Taboo drug among Democrats. You're not going to say, I believe he took it, unless he actually did say it.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, my thought on this, though, this was an interesting thing with you because you're, as an influential member of the national media, you know how to break news and time things. Did you hold on to that clip until it was announced? Because you released this yesterday. You broke this story yesterday, and you broke the story of her husband, of Amy Klobuchar saying her husband took hydroxychloroquine at the same moment that it was announced she was being vetted by Biden's team for VP. Is that a coincidence, or did you time this breaking news story with that?
No. Actually, that was a very, very happy coincidence.
Oh, yeah, man, it was. Yeah, it was.
I've been looking for that clip for weeks, and I think my mistake might have been and now I've learned my lesson. I was using Google search. I didn't see it until yesterday. It was an April 7th interview with Michael Smerconish on his Sirius.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it just wasn't put on the internet until yesterday. I don't know. I have no idea.
So you just got lucky with that. So how did you find it? How'd you find the clip of her from Smerconish?
Well, no, I just like like all the other times I was doing a search, I thought maybe something was, because I would get clips of like Andrea Mitchell on Watch Her, and she'd have an extended interview with Amy Klobuchar about her husband, with the coronavirus. I'm like Sam Kinison. I go, ask the question. She never asked, like, what did he say?
Of course not.
None of them.
And no one has asked Chris Cuomo either. Chris Cuomo, the wife, and his son all had it. Nobody has asked Chris Cuomo.
Yeah, the guy that bathes in bleach.
Yeah, the wife.
Yeah, the bleach bathed with it. Well, anyway, what happened is when I finally saw it yesterday, I thought, oh, wait a second, if I see this, maybe somebody else will. I wanted to, I wanted to be the one to break the story. So
Yeah.
I started working on it, and then after
I'm seeing the comments.
2 hours, and then after I posted it, I said, wow, it's unbelievable. She's also being vetted today. What a, of course, I got a funny feeling because now that the Washington Examiner has the story, they're going to say that it was a planted story by vicious right-wingers who were just waiting for that moment. No, it just so happens that I happened by coincidence. I saw it yesterday. I mean, believe me, if I would have seen it 2 days ago, I would have put it up, whatever.
Yeah, well, the timing worked out well because you're going viral, man. You're going viral with this story.
Yeah, but I'm wondering now, is any brave reporter like the mainstream media out there, are they going to ask her about this? Because it is.
Yeah, Jeff's unblocked.
Examiner, it's out there. I mean, how can they not ask her? But they haven't been asking her for the last few weeks.
It's an amazing thing because I talk a lot about my wife's illness, and when my wife is one of the 4, 5, 6 longest living people in the world with her illness. And when she was first diagnosed, it was an illness that wasn't diagnosed very often. It was very hard to find treatments and medications. And my wife volunteered working with an organization to let people know with her condition where they can get treatment and medications. We couldn't stop telling people, screaming from the top of our lungs, this is what you take for primary pulmonary hypertension. I've never seen a treatment being covered up before by people. People are using the treatment, it's saving their lives, and they don't want to tell anybody. It's like some ancient it's like the Colonel's secret recipes of the 7 herbs and spices. They don't want you to know about.
And I bet you somebody, you might not want to say it because it's a private thing, but I bet you know what treatments your wife is taking. I think he might be, I believe he might be taking, she might be taking this, right?
I don't know. She's on a lot of medications. I don't know them all, but I know it. I wouldn't go through them. Yeah, certainly if I was doing an interview with my wife about her illness, like Klobuchar is, about her husband with the corona, I would have the list in front of me, and I would proudly tell everybody, this is what she's taking. Go to the doctor and see this. I was talking about this a couple days ago, PJ. The advertising of prescription medications is relatively new, right? 25 years or so, you've seen ads on television for different medications. The reason drug manufacturers do that is so that patients go to their doctor and ask for whatever the medication they saw on TV is to treat whatever it is. It is very normal for people to go to a doctor and say, I saw an ad about this medication, or a friend of mine is taking a prescription for this. Can I try? It's very normal for people to do that. Except with this.
Yeah, but the thing that really amazed me is that her husband was like, you heard her on the audio. He had pneumonia, he was coughing up blood, he had a high fever, he was like at the point of death.
Yeah.
To a hospital, and 5 days later he walks out perfectly healthy.
Yeah.
The obvious thing anybody would want to know is, hey, we got a bad coronavirus situation.
He's unblocked. He can come back. It was an accident.
So, that's another thing. A lot of people I've noticed in the comments was really interesting was a lot of people are angry at her for not admitting right.
Are you? Is that video that you have? Were you able to monetize that video? Yeah, I didn't think so. Well, don't get into the minutia. I don't want to get into the minutia of that. Just this suffice with no, because you can tell me off the air the minutia. No. Now what do you think? Now what do you think goes through the mind of someone like Amy Klobuchar, whose husband took hydroxychloroquine? He recovered. Maybe it was because of that. Maybe it wasn't. We don't know. But it was part of the treatment protocol in the hospital. He was very sick. What do you think she tells herself as to why she's not shouting, at the top of her lungs about his treatment.
She knows that she did. I mean, well, now it's also probably ruined by yours truly, but, you know, you can't be up for life contention to be named a vice presidential pick in the Democrats nowadays and admit that your husband took the taboo.
Yeah, but she could save people's lives. People may go to their doctor and ask for it.
But made people angry. I mean, you'd be so, you know, I enjoy reading the comments like at the game, and also at Citizen Free Press, by the way, which is also a big site, also carried my video. But the big thing that I'm seeing is people are really angry at her, like, hey, why didn't you tell everybody? Why are you hiding it, you know?
Yeah.
Doing a public good for
You know, that's what, you know, that's what we do. You know, like I talk about Friendly Tire or Ace Hardware Deerfield, Beach Ace Hardware, any lab test now, you know, Steve and I use things. We have services that help us in whatever way, and then we tell you about it. For the life of me, I cannot understand people taking a life-saving treatment and they want to keep it a secret. They don't want anybody to know. It's not like there's a shortage of it and they have to hoard it for their friends. It's something readily available, and I would be if that were me or my spouse, I'd be on the air every day talking about it for 3 hours.
Big Pharma does not like hydroxychloroquine because it's relatively inexpensive.
And the patent's expired too, so there's yeah.
You know, so what? It helps.
You could make it up in volume. You make it up in volume.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, you broke a big story, but you know you were onto that because you were suspecting that for a long time. I'll tell you though, I've been talking about this. Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, no one can convince me he didn't take it either. He was on death's door. He recovered quickly, and then he spent 20 million pounds buying up doses of hydroxychloroquine for the stockpile in the UK.
I'm curious about his. I'm positive he took it too, but why didn't he just say so?
I don't know. And I love Boris Johnson. He's the Trump of the UK. They have the same barber, obviously, same hairstylist. I don't know. That's a very good question. I don't know, and I'm a little disappointed in Boris Johnson, quite frankly, about that. I think that's why Trump started taking it, was because of Boris. He started taking it about the same time. Yeah.
Treatment where you're at death's door and 5 days later you're walking out of the hospital perfectly.
We don't have any scientific medical studies. Everything we have is anecdotal, but I haven't heard any negative stories. You know, the VA study is a flawed study because of the zinc component wasn't there. So, you know, these are flawed. These are flawed studies that are showing that it doesn't work.
Really bad misinformation, extremely bad misinformation. People like Neil Cavuto saying it can kill you, it will kill you. He says either it will kill you or it can kill you, and it's been used for 65 years. Hydroxychloroquine with. You know, there's a few people who might have an allergy or something to it, but in general, it works fine.
Yeah. Well, PJ, that's congratulations on, you know, you may have saved lives with that story because it is going viral. You're in the Washington Examiner on this story with Amy Klobuchar. So it's getting around.
They're not me.
They didn't cite you as the source, and I know that happens to me a lot too. I know it happens to me all the time, and you get burned. I know they're national people use my stuff, and they don't cite me or credit me. I know, I'm used to it.
No, the big time was in 2004 on the most effective political campaign ad in all history. We know what that is.
The Swift Boat Veterans ad that I created, that everybody takes credit for. You know, everyone takes credit for that.
Yeah, because when I saw that on TV, I said, wait a minute, this is exactly what Brian did.
Yeah. Even the Swift Boat veteran people took credit for it, and I gave them the idea. I know. Well, thankfully, PJ, you wrote a story about it, and I share that story with people that challenge me on it all the time. But anyway, I got to run, PJ, but congratulations. Thanks for the call. And if you're wondering, you can Google this. Google Brian Craig, the man who made John Kerry cry. Brian Craig, the man who made John Kerry cry. And you'll find the story of how I created the concept for the Swift Boat Veteran campaign ad that, well, cost the election for John Kerry and gave the victory to George W. Bush. All right, we'll take our break. Last break of the second hour. Oh my goodness, we are so late. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
This is Lori Kane, and I want to tell you about
Steve
Brian
Kane Show.
Hair. I just had a lot of work done, and I avoided
Hey.
going to the dentist
Steve
for a lot
Kane
of
Show.
years because I was afraid of the cost. But I went to Brighton
Hey.
Dental for my free consultation.
Scott, can
which, by the
you
way,
call
he
back in
offers
5
to all
minutes
Steve
at the
Kane
top of the
listeners.
hour?
I had 2 cavities. I needed a crown on top and a crown on the bottom. If I were a horse, they would have put me down. So I scheduled my appointment for the next Saturday because Brighton Dental has Saturday appointments available, and they saved me a ton of money. And I will be a patient for life. Don't let cost stop you from taking care of your teeth. Brighton Dental gives Steve Kane listeners incredible discounts on all dental procedures, just like they gave me. Prices are so reasonable, you don't have to worry about the cost. So call Brighton Dental today at 954-922-4633. That's 954-922-4633. You can visit them at brightondental.com and tell them Lori Kane sent you.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio.
All right, welcome back. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show. And on the line, Dr. Mitch Matez, who we had in studio earlier this week. Dr. Matez, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Brian. How you doing?
Hey, every day's a great day with hormone replacement pellet therapy.
Yes, it is. It is. And it was actually quite a treat being
You shocked me. You shocked me when you were here the other day. You know what? You said something that shocked me during the show earlier this week. I'll tell you what it is. You said you're 60 years old. I had no idea you were that old. And, because you use hormone replacement pellet therapy yourself, I would say, if I were to, I thought you were about 52. I knew you were older than you looked. I would say you were like 47, 48, if I were to guess, maybe even 46. And when you said you were 60 years old, I was shocked.
And you know what, Brian? I do not get Botox.
Steve Kane Show.
I do not get fillers. I do not do any
Hey, hold on.
aesthetic. I just keep my hormone levels high and well balanced, and the rest of it just kind of happens. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, I mean, I'm amazed at that. 60 is not what it used to be with hormone replacement pellet therapy. So really, no Botox? Wow.
I feel good and I look good, which is one of my new themes. I have another new theme, by the way, and I've adopted after some thought on Wednesday after our conversation. I so love Steve Kane's analogy for hormone therapy that I'm going to adopt it as a saying. If you're living life in black and white, I can make the world technicolor.
Well, it sure is. And what we talk about with that is one thing with hormone replacement pellet therapy that I noticed day one, which I wasn't expecting, is cognitive ability is like you wouldn't believe. I mean, you're sharp as a tack with it. And I was telling Dr. Matez, I noticed even my reading comprehension improved with hormone replacement pellet therapy. You're absolutely right.
I want to point out,
Steve Kane Show.
estradiol in particular is the
Hold on.
cognitive hormone in women. As women age, estradiol falls, cognition suffers. Period. This is science. And replacing it, putting it back to natural, normal levels, replaces your cognition.
Now, let me ask you, in your case, Dr. Matez, the cognition is huge, and by the way, I'm in my 40s, and I'm telling you, it's greatly improved. I can only imagine the dramatic cognitive change in people that are 60, 80, patients you have over the age of 90. It's fantastic.
It's really neat. A common sentence that you will hear if you don't prompt a sentence is, the fog has lifted.
Yeah.
That's the most common sentence. The fog has lifted. That memory brain fog that we all tend to get as we age tends to go away, and you think clearly again. It's very, very cool.
It is. Listen, give Dr. Mitch Matez a call. It's a completely free consultation to meet with Dr. Matez, if you mention the Steve Kane Show, and his number is 561-953-5490, 561-953-5490, and online hormone therapy, BocaRaton.com. All right, Dr. Matez, we will talk next week. You got it. Take care. All right, Dr. Matez. Good morning. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. I'm Jack from Coral Springs. Do you hear me?
I do.
Okay.
I don't know if I want to, but I do hear you. Yes.
Okay. Well, I just I wanted to say something. I don't know if I can really support Trump this election. I think I really Biden makes a lot of sense. I think I really want to vote.
Well, I don't know if you don't sound like a serious person, but I'll keep the conversation going for a moment. What is it you like about Biden?
Well, I want to say he makes more sense than Trump.
Well, give me an example of Joe Biden making more sense than Trump on a specific issue or topic.
Well, he doesn't want us to take poison.
He doesn't want us to what? Oh, wait a minute. Are you under the impression that the president wants you to take poison?
Yeah.
Come on. You can't even stop from... You're trying to hold back the laughter yourself. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's... We have the longest delay in the radio business. We have a 20-second delay on the Steve Kane Show. A 20-second delay. Yeah, I know. It's a long delay. Actually, it's longer than that because the delay in my studio is 20 seconds, and then Rich Allen at the other studio down the hall where he's right, there's another 7.5 seconds on that. So we actually have a 27.5 second delay. So the longest delay in the radio business because of guys like that. Listen, let's take our break for the top of the hour. We got a little behind on the breaks in the last hour, but hey, between the breaks, when you hear me and Steve talking, that's filler. The program is actually the commercial breaks. We're filler between the breaks. Let's take that top of the hour break. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
95.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
This is Steve Kane for
Steve Kane Show.
Barry Siegel. Barry
Scott?
did a great job for me and
Hey,
my
Scott, hold
family
on.
when we needed a revocable living trust. Listen to one of our listeners, Ray, talk about his experience with Barry Siegel.
I want to praise Barry Siegel, and one of the most important things about...
Oh, yeah. Pelosi. I got to do Pelosi.
Integrity. You have to know that you're dealing with an
Pelosi's
honest
gonna-
person. I had to go up to Myrtle Beach with my sister because her husband died, and I was helping her out. She had a trust and everything. She had not revised this trust since 1997. And Barry says every 3 years at least you got to... I called Barry's office because I had a question. I let the secretary know. I said, look, I'm calling from South Carolina. I know the laws are different, and I'm just asking for information for my sister. Now, most people just blow you off, right? Almost immediately, within a few minutes, Barry himself called me. I asked my questions and so on, and he answered. He was very patient. I was quite a while with him, and I talked about a lot of things, and this and that. But I wanted to say, character, integrity, these are the most important things with sponsors, and all of your sponsors, because I've done with a lot of them, they all have that you can trust them and you're getting a fair shake.
Do what Ray did. Call attorney Barry Siegel right now. Toll free 1-855-FLA-3782. That's 1-855 toll free FLA-3782. Tell him Steve sent you.
Yeah, that's why I muted so he wasn't on YouTube. I didn't want... He's somebody watching on YouTube, so I didn't want him to hear his nonsense. Kids out of school,
Dial
All right, third and final hour has begun. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. I was checking the weather for this Memorial Day weekend. 93 degrees, people. 93 degrees. And we're not even in the hot time. It's still May. 93 degrees. And that means that air conditioner is going to be kicking on all the time unless you call Scott at Cut My Kilowatts and have him put your house under the shade with the radiant barrier. Scott, good morning. Scott. Hey, Scott. Yeah, 93 degree. Yeah, Cut My Kilowatts, man. 93 degrees over the weekend, man.
Yeah, and the forecast is hot for the next 6 coming months.
Oh,
Hot and hotter and hotter.
that's right.
So basically, we're winding down here on our big 50% off sale. I mean, I'm only going to probably be able to keep going on this till the end of the month. I might be able to extend it till June 15th. After that, it's just too hot to keep giving these deals, and the price is just going to have to go up. And I bring it up in increments as it gets hotter and hotter. But undoubtedly, this is the lowest price I've ever sold radiant barrier in the history. Part of it's the pandemic, and part of it's the off season. And what it means for you is you can get your house done for $1 a square foot. If you have a 2,000 square foot house, you get it done for $2,000.
To block someone, I have to click their name on the chat. And sometimes the chat is scrolling so fast, I hit the wrong person. I have blocked my wife 3 or 4 times. You know, so sometimes accidental blocks happen.
Right over the phone, so you don't have to, you know, book an appointment to find out more. You just give me a call, and we'll discuss it. Most people book right over the phone, and then we just go out and install it, and it's usually
Yeah.
hours on days. It's done in under a day at this time of the year. And, if you have any other issues in your attic, I'm a one-stop shop. I can do your duct work. I can do your insulation. I can clean your attic out and vacuum it, sanitize it. Anything you need in your attic, we can pretty much.
Yeah, and if you think your air conditioner is not working properly, if it's blowing out warm air, if it's not shutting off, and you think you got an AC, well, sometimes it's not it's blowing out warm air, not cool air, is what I meant to say. Yeah, and Scott from Cut My Kilowatts. Before you call the AC guy, call Scott at Cut My Kilowatts and have him do a no-charge inspection of your home. Find out if maybe your air conditioner is not running properly, working properly. Scott will let you know. Believe me, he will let you know. He's an honest guy you can trust. His number is 954-939-1500. 954-939-1500. Scott from Cut My Kilowatts. All right, Scott, we're off on Monday, but we'll talk on Tuesday. That's right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Those who have given their life. That's what Memorial Day is about. Oh, boy. Okay. So the House Madam. That's what Nancy Pelosi. They call her Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker. Oh, my goodness. That's really not a good name for her title, because when I think of a madam, what do you guys think when you think of a madam? Yeah, that's what I think too. And she's the House Madam, really. She's the Madam of the House of Representatives. So anyway, Nancy Pelosi, she's on with Lawrence O'Donnell on MSNBC yesterday talking about the mail-in voting, where they're actually, in California, she's talking about having same-day voter registration. Here's Pelosi.
Thank you for that. First of all, we're not
you're welcome.
Voting at home.
Voting at home. See, this is, we're now calling it voting at home, not voting by mail. See, Democrats think you're stupid. And you know what? They got a good case to make, because Democrats continue to elect Democrats. So you instead of calling it, see, they've had a focus group. And the focus group told them that voting by mail, it has negative. People don't like that. Voting by mail, people don't trust that. So they ran phrases by the focus group. Voting at home had positive ratings in the focus group. So that's why we are now calling it voting at home. Oh, okay.
All right, thank you for that. First of all, we're now calling it voting at home because that's really what it's all about, enabling people to vote at home. And in the legislation, we have additional funds, $6 billion, which is what is necessary for us to conduct an election, which follows some of our encouragements. What that is that every voter would receive an absentee ballot.
Okay, now, I don't support any of this voting at home, voting by mail, or anything. I support the way we've done it, where you go into the school down the street or the firehouse and you vote at the polling location. That's how I do it. Obviously, voting from home and by mail is a scam for the Democrats to steal the election, right? They're not going to be able to steal the presidency, but they're going to steal seats in the House of Representatives, I promise you that. If this were real, the House madam there, Nancy Pelosi, and she is a madam of a house, isn't she? Yeah, she's a House madam, and the House of Representatives is a whorehouse, pretty much, right? They're all themselves. If this were real, what Pelosi would be talking about is doing what? Voting on the internet. Why do you think they're using the old, out-of-date postal service as opposed to voting on your computer? Do you know why? With a computer, there's a record of the IP address. It has to be verified. See, because the computer's not anonymous. You can't have someone vote 5,063 times on one computer or two computers. The ballots, you can just sit there and just fill them out all day and mail them out. That's why. All right, let's get back here to the House madam.
That there would be same-day registration.
Oh, now this is a great one. This is the other thing. There'll be same-day registration. So think about this. They're voting by mail, and you can register on the same day. How the hell do you verify that? How do you verify someone's residency? How do you verify someone's identity if they have same-day voter registration? You can't.
Those who need to vote on election day, whether it's disabilities or concern about their ballot, etc., that there would be safe opportunities for them to do so well in advance of election day, but in adequate locations that are safe. This becomes a health issue. This becomes a health issue, as we saw in Wisconsin.
Okay. This is a health issue. This is a health... Okay. Here's the thing. I voted in the Florida primary a few weeks back, a couple months back. I can't remember when it was, but I wanted to vote for Trump again, so I voted, And there were some other people on the ballot running against Trump in the Republican primary. I never heard of any of them, but there were some names there. And the people that worked at the polling location, they had masks on, they had gloves on, they had sanitizers on, they had shields up. It was very, very, very safe, okay? And it was on a paper ballot that only I would handle. I touched nothing, and they had sanitizer when I walked in, they had hand sanitizer when I walked out, So it was a completely, but the problem, you know why, this thing about what I was talking about, I'm not going to say the name because Steve and I were told something by a senior Democrat years ago in confidence.
Which one?
I can't tell you.
Give me a clue that I'll get that no one else will get.
When I tell the story, you'll probably remember who it is, okay? This whole thing with the House madam, Nancy Pelosi, with the mail-in, as I was saying a minute ago, if this was real, if there was a health fear and people came out, they would do it over the internet on your computer. The reason they don't is because there's an electronic signature on your computer. They can't have someone vote 800 times on one computer with the same IP address. The IP address is the address of every computer has an address. And they can't have someone vote 900, 200 times, or whatever many times on one computer. It would be a problem. The paper ballots, they can have people in rooms all day filling them out and mailing them. You understand what I'm saying? That's why they don't do it the internet. If this was a real health concern, there would be no balloting done with paper because people still have to handle it. You have to mail it, people have to take it out, and they're being exposed. They would do it on the computer at home, but because there's an electronic address for every computer, they can't do the fraud. After the 2000 recount, in Florida, we had electronic touchscreen voting for 1 or 2 elections.
I remember this.
And it went away. And a Democrat, I'm not going to say who, Steve and I have friends, even though this person is no longer a friend. They told us they were at the time, and they told us this off the record and in confidence. So I can't cite the source, okay? Cannot cite the source. But I'll tell you what they told Steve and what they told me. And this was a leading Democrat about touchscreen electronic voting, which went away. And if you remember, after the 2000 recount with the hanging chads here in Florida, Democrats started talking about electronic voting. We had it 1 election, 2 elections, gone. And what this senior Democrat told the two of us was electronic voting, get this, and they said this with a straight face. They weren't joking. They meant this. They didn't even realize what they're saying. They're Democrats. They're corrupt. They told us electronic voting is too accurate. That's what they told us. Do you remember that, Steve? It was off the air, in confidence. It's too accurate.
First initial?
No initials. It's in confidence. You can't tell. No.
The initials do.
That initial was wrong. No. That initial you gave was wrong. I'll tell you after the show who it was. But they told us it's too accurate. And that's why that Nancy Pelosi is talking about paper ballots instead of the computers or an app. Like you could download an app on your cell phone and vote on that. Oh, that it's too accurate. Because if you have an app, if you say, okay, there's a health crisis, we can't have people go to the polls, so we now have the federal elections app. You just download this app on your mobile device and you vote. Okay? It's too accurate because they would know whose phone it was, who you are. There's a verification process.
They wouldn't be able to vote 42 times.
40,000. They wouldn't be able to have people sitting in rooms filling out fake paper ballots. Okay? And that's what. Let's see if the speaker has anything else to say about this to MSNBC.
Lines for that amount of time, going to places that are enclosed is dangerous to your health. And
this part here. Now, they had that vote in Wisconsin, if you remember. A couple weeks ago, they had a vote in Wisconsin, and the Democrats were trying to stop it for a health crisis, and it went on, and they voted. There was no increase. There was not one story of anyone getting infected with corona because they voted in Wisconsin a couple weeks ago. Not one story. Even though they're showing lines of people in Wisconsin lining up to vote, no stories of anybody catching coronavirus from voting in Wisconsin. Sorry.
Is it more democratic? It gives people more options. It removes obstacles and barriers to voting, which is what we
like being
like the rules that you can only do it once.
Now, and you have to be alive and a U.S. citizen, and you have to be a real, not fictitious person. You know these things. At home. Okay, so they're bailing out the post office. I'm not going to get slight. They're giving like a few $1 billion to the post office. You know why?
Yes.
Postal Workers Union vote. That's why.
Exactly.
That's why. Postal Union voters, the Postal Union votes, and it's a voting block that the Democrats expect. So they're pouring $3.8 billion or something ridiculous into the post office, which really shouldn't even be running full-time anymore. The U.S. Postal Service should be delivering mail 2-3 days a week.
The more examples we give of this, it just shows you if you had a legit election, basically what we're realizing here is Democrats wouldn't stand a chance in a straight election.
I believe that
between the unions and between only this
is what I believe. If the only people that voted in America were 18 U.S. citizens and alive, and I'm not kidding when I say this, I think the Democrats would lose 30, maybe 40 seats in the House of Representatives. Instantly, and I don't know how many in the Senate, because you get 2 from every state, but they would lose so many seats in the House of Representatives, and they know it. They only win through fraud, and they know it, and that's why they're pushing for this. It can't be allowed. In some states still, to vote absentee, you have to have damn good reason and prove that you can't vote in person for a particular reason. And it worked that way for about 200 years. And then after the 2000 recount, all these vote fraud operations sprung up.
The Amy Klobuchar thing, I think, is fascinating because it shows what
Steve
happens
Show.
when a Democrat, perhaps with more principles than some other Democrats, is involved in a situation where honesty is a question.
Yeah.
They will, no matter what it costs, they'll do the dishonest thing.
In this case, cost lives,
now,
perhaps.
With Klobuchar,
Amy Klobuchar.
She's got a long shot crap game going here that she's going to be chosen as the vice president.
Yeah.
She was. And all of a sudden, her husband's life gets saved by this miracle medication that Donald Trump has been pushing big time. And she was faced with a choice. Do I go public with the truth and perhaps save a couple thousand lives in the process of doing that, letting people know there's a viable alternative here that could save them even if they're in bad shape?
Yeah.
Or do I keep my... Because if I do that, it's going to end up... I'm going to end up in Dutch with the party.
It saves lives, but yeah.
But it cost me the nomination.
Yeah.
If we told the truth. So what does she opt to do? She...
Yeah.
Well, in her answer, if you play it again, you can tell she's conflicted. She wants to kind of tell the truth.
Yeah.
But and she sort of says something...
Yeah, let me play it real quick. The ums are thinking, do I tell the truth or lie?
That's exactly right.
Oh. Well, how about your husband, your loving husband? You have to go to the doctor? You can't ask your loving husband?
That's where she made the choice to...
to lie.
My father had a great word.
Yeah.
Fusticate.
Now, listen, on the line, we have your attorney on the line, Attorney Barry Siegel, Steve.
Attorney Barry Siegel, of the Siegel Law Group. Great elder law attorney who I'm going to have to make an appointment with next week because I realize I have, after suggesting everybody go out there and have their revocable living trusts and their...
Is someone getting disinherited?
Reviewed. That's another show.
Oh!
Let's focus on...
Someone's getting disinherited. Interesting.
Now you threw me off my game here.
Sorry. Now you're deciding. You're like Amy Klobuchar. Do I tell the truth or do I?
No, I mean...
there have been changes in your life.
You can see the wheels going around in her head. Do I give up the nomination? Of course, there's no way I'm going to be vice president if I go public with the truth. Even though it might save a couple hundred lives, maybe even 1,000 lives, who knows? But what are my priorities here? Very much like that thing with Siegel, Dr. Siegel. Remember the story I told you?
Yeah.
I saw him, I'll try to give you an abbreviated version of
And then we got to transition back to Barry Siegel.
Oh, yes, let's do that now. I don't want to...
Steve's trying to cloud the fact that he's making changes in his estate plan.
Attorney Siegel, how are you doing today? Excellent. Whoa. A word to the wise should suffice. Let me give you Barry's number. Call it up. And Barry, I'm going to call you next week. We're going to get together. If you want to make the appointment with Attorney Barry Siegel, toll free 1-855-FLA 3782. Let's try it without the cough. 1-855-FLA 3782. Council, have a great weekend, and we will speak next week, all right? You take care. You take care.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
well,
boy.
There's a similarity between this particular story and the Dr. Siegel story. You remember the Dr. Siegel story?
Yeah.
Tell him the Dr. Siegel story.
He was on Tucker Carlson. He told Tucker Carlson his father, who's in his 80s, took hydroxychloroquine for coronavirus and recovered.
And it saved his life.
Yeah, and then he's never mentioned it again on Fox News Channel, even when discussing the medication.
Right, well, and just a little piece of color.
Like your kids.
He announced that his father's life had been saved by this.
Yeah, on Tucker Carlson.
2 or 3 hours later on another show, or the next day on another show, he was involved in, Dr. Siegel was involved in a discussion of...
Then it was the next day. It was the next day, yeah.
Of treatments possibly effective, are around now, alternatives. And Dr. Siegel all of a sudden had a lapse of memory. They came to him, well, what did your father do? And he says, well, he was fine. He wouldn't mention the taboo drug. And what that's all about is there are a whole bunch, stop and think about this. Dr. Fauci, or whatever his name was.
Fauci.
Fauci. You don't hear very much about Dr.
He actually did an interview yesterday. Do you know who interviewed him?
Who?
Julia Roberts.
Julia Roberts?
Julia Roberts.
Eric Roberts?
She played a prostitute in Pretty Woman.
Oh,
yeah. Well, Julia Roberts. Aaron Brockovich.
That must have been
the actress.
That must have been a hard-hitting interview.
Oh, yeah.
But...
I'm serious. Julia Roberts.
But the point is, Siegel, who had just, within 24 hours, before, the last 24 hours, had given an endorsement to the...
Hydroxy is what I call it.
Hydroxy. All of a sudden, he couldn't remember what his father was treated with and all this. And the reason is...
They got to him.
The patent. It's that simple. Stop and think about it. If you're Fauci, or you're any of the major doctors in that field, you're on the cutting edge of all the information about what are the most promising drugs. Whatever is the company, the pharmaceutical company that comes up with the vaccine is going to make a fortune. A lot of these drugs are on the market, on the open market, the stock market. And you're going to tell me you don't think Fauci and the lady doctor, what's her name?
Birx.
You're going to tell me that at some point they didn't load up on stock from some of these companies?
I don't know. That sounds illegal.
No.
Sounds like insider trading.
Well, not if they don't find out about it, I guess. But this is the important point of the story. They get the stocks, they stick them away. Now all of a sudden here comes an upstart drug which is already, the patent's already run out on it. It's so old.
Yeah,
There's no money to be made on it. It has the potential of ending the whole game about coming up with the supplemental treatments that will help. And you're going to tell me Fauci doesn't know when to buy and when to sell and what to do? Of course, they all do. And that's why that I think they all had used the patented drug, for treatment.
Yeah.
But they didn't want to promo it because they want everybody to buy the current drugs that they've got the stuff.
The big money's in.
Is that clear or not?
Yeah, I was clear before you explained it, but I think people get it. No, it makes sense. There's no money. The other drug cost a nickel a dose.
I've never looked at Siegel the same way after that.
Yeah, they got to him.
He saved his father and he didn't have the balls to...
Well, I think what a lot of it has to do is pharmaceutical companies do so much advertising with the networks that they put a lot of... It's like Karl Rove has a lot of power at Fox because he does ad buys nationally for candidates. Right. And I think the pharmaceutical companies do so much advertising on television that is one of the reasons the media doesn't talk about hydroxy and they talk about other things. It's because they'll be promoting this. By the way, speaking of coronavirus, yesterday I went to Any Lab Test Now of Boca, and this is available, by the way, at Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Coral Springs.
Should I be easing out of the room?
No. I went yesterday and had a coronavirus antibody test done. I don't have the results back yet. When I do, I will share them with you. But Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Coral Springs, a lot of Any Lab Test Nows, but those are the only two advertising on the Steve Kane Show. I went for my antibody test, and you can have it there too. But let me tell you, we talk a lot. This was the first time I had lab work done at any lab test now with Boca. And my wife goes there all the time, and my daughter too. And they both had been telling me that my wife loves going there because she said 1 stick and boom, that's it. And it's painless. And I'm like, okay. My wife was telling me when she goes to her doctor or elsewhere for lab work, they have to stick her 2, 3, sometimes 4 or 5 times to get blood because she, and just one time at any lab test now with Boca.
Thin veins.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you something. At any lab test now with Boca, not just 1 stick and you're done, it was painless. I didn't even feel the needle go in my arm. And when I went in, because I was going for the coronavirus antibody test, I'm recorded it on my phone because when I get the results, I'll finish the video. I'm making a video about getting my coronavirus antibody test at any lab test now with Boca. So you will see on the video live when she stuck the needle in my arm. I didn't even know it until I looked and saw it. I didn't even feel it, and I was talking to her about it. She's best. It's like painless blood draw in my case. So listen, for all your lab work, go there. They're open on Saturdays. Any lab test now with Boca and Coral Springs, but also the coronavirus antibody test. And I'm hoping I have the antibodies because that means I'm immune and I don't have to wear the mask and wash my hands 83 times a day. But if I don't have the antibodies, that's good information too. I'm going to continue to be careful. All right, let's take our break and we will be back. Don't go anywhere.
Tests now with Boca and Coral Springs are the best labs to go to when you need quick and affordable lab work that's private and accurate. Don't go to those other labs where you have to wait hours just to be seen by an unfriendly lab tech. Everything at any lab test now with Boca and Coral Springs is first class. The labs are super clean. The techs highly skilled and
Richard
professional.
Perle.
Plus their prices are the lowest you will find. Guaranteed. If your time is
I'm going to try to get Youngerman a little early.
around to get your lab work.
Okay, so just but
Boca and Coral Springs are the places you need to go.
Hey there.
You will be seen
All right.
quickly with no appointment.
Richard Perle.
No prescription necessary. In and out in 15 minutes or less. And they're always friendly and courteous. When you go to any lab test now at Boca and Coral Springs, you are putting your health care in your own hands. You are in control. They have every test you need, whether it's a blood test, urine test, drug test, STD test, or any other lab test. Any lab test now at Boca and Coral Springs have you covered. Any lab test now at Boca is in the Sandalfoot Plaza, where the Western Beef is, between Palmetto and Hillsboro, on the east side of State Road 7. Any lab test now of Coral Springs is on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood, near the Coral Square Mall. Call any lab test now of Boca at 561-237-5009. Any lab test now of Coral Springs, 954-906-5983. Any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on The Steve Kane Show.
Listen to The Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for
Richard Perle. Richard Perle.
All right, it is time. It is that time when we check in with the wonderful world of health and wellness. And of course, I'm talking about my dear friend, Richard Perle of Simply Natural. Richard, are you there? All kinds of wild goings on. So glad we have you here to sort it out for us.
Steve Kane Show. Hey, hold on.
Yeah, exactly. Richard, are you going to be dealing with any of this stuff on your show tomorrow? Yeah. Well, well, I for one will be tuned in for that that weekend show. That's a fabulous show. And in the meantime, if you want to get Richard by phone, his number is 954-741-4045. He's located at 8271 Sunset Strip in Sunrise, just north of Sunset Strip on the east side of University Drive. Richard, have a great weekend, and we will speak next week, all right? All right, my man. Okay, Richard Perle.
We'll talk to you Tuesday, Richard. We're off on Monday. Back Tuesday.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, take care. Take care. All right, you want to go take some other calls?
Go, do it.
All right, let's go to Carl in Columbus, Ohio. Hey, Carl.
Hey.
Somewhere around there, yeah. Oh, you can't, I mean, you can't just, there are some things you can't say on the radio.
I don't know what the hell he was talking about.
I think he did, but is there certain things you can't talk about? I don't know. Something. He's harmless. He's harmless. I know he is.
Make a little note to tell me off the air when the show's over.
What he was talking about?
Just kind of piqued my
I got lots of stuff to tell you after the show. I got to tell you that source of that story. I got to tell you that. I'll forget all this.
Well, go.
After the show. We can end the show now. I'll tell you now real quick if it dispenses. You know, the media are just having meltdowns over Trump. And Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski are having major meltdowns. They go after Trump a lot, and Trump has been tweeting things lately about the death of the intern that worked for Joe Scarborough, and it has gotten them very upset. Mika Brzezinski, who is married to Joe Scarborough, she went on the air this week. This is Mika Brzezinski talking about the president.
And your lack of ability to handle this massive human catastrophe.
This was live on the air, by the way, so you know, MSNBC, NBC News.
Ability to handle this massive human catastrophe, the fact that you've made it worse, and that you make it worse every day.
He's made it worse.
Yeah, coronavirus.
What papers does she read? Oh!
Yeah, you're going to be hearing from me.
You'll be hearing from me and knocking the door in the middle of the night.
Mika Brzezinski believes that the president should be removed from social media and should not be able to communicate via social media. You'll be hearing from her.
Think over the period of the last 2 months, the history of the virus, how it's gone from 60 days ago to 30 days ago. And what you realize is everything is way down. Everything is much better. We run by doing everything that Trump has talked about and everything that Brzezinski is against. We seem well on the way to conquering it. And you wonder where is her brain in outer space?
She's in another war. Well, you know, Mika Brzezinski, I don't like Joe Scarborough, and I don't watch his show because he's on when we're on the radio, and I don't think anybody watches it because we're on the radio then. I think it's just filler. MSNBC knows the Steve Kane show's on the air. They have to have something on the air.
Exactly.
So they have that filler show,
Sacrificial
morning
lamb.
show. But Joe Scarborough is not a nice person, and he's not nice to his wife, Mika Brzezinski. I find him to be very disrespectful to her, and the few times I have seen them together and things, he just is just not nice to her. But Mika Brzezinski, I got no beef with Mika.
Serves her in.
But Mika Brzezinski is very well connected. I know some of you know because I mention this from time to time. Her father,
So big.
well, she's part of the deep state, Mika Brzezinski. Her father was the national security advisor to President Carter, and I know that was a long time ago. But believe me, she's part. That's why she's on MSNBC. She's not on MSNBC and NBC News because she's just this great broadcast journalist. It's part of the connection between the deep state and the media that goes on, like Anderson Cooper and many other people. So she's the way she was acting about this thing with Trump and Joe Scarborough was just, I mean, she was hysterical and out of control.
Well, it was their worst nightmare. You know, they go in there with their agenda, and Trump blows everything up, which is great.
Yeah, that they don't like.
His last stroke was just a beauty. You know, the thing they pulled with Trump this last week.
What are you talking about with the mask yesterday at the Ford plant?
Yes. I mean, everybody's, with everything that's going on, which is basically at its root kind of dry and boring and academic, but boy, not with Trump. He turned it into a three-ring circus and acted out a play that proved his point and just destroyed. And they were standing there, the bad guys were standing there trying to figure out how to get back control of what's going on. And they can't do it. He's just always one step ahead of them.
Well, we're always one step too, because this morning when you woke up and you look at the news, the lead story is Trump not wearing a mask at the Ford plant, which is not true. He did, but in the next segment after the Gold Report,
He says he did.
No, there's a picture of it. I've seen
Oh,
it.
they're gonna
Yeah, we're going to have an epidemiology expert on the show in the last segment after the Gold Report. We'll talk about masks. Now, I do wear masks, and I do think people should. But the thing with Trump did wear a mask and a face shield, too, and there's photographs of him prior to the press conference. And he did not wear it during the press conference because that's not the image he wants to project. He wants to project calmness.
What he said was better than that. He tweaked him. He said, I just don't want to give the media the satisfaction
of seeing me in it. But it's not appropriate because the president needs to show normalcy, he needs to show calm. And the example I gave is all the presidents, they wear Kevlar vests and they wear it under their clothes. They don't wear it like the police wear Kevlar outside their clothes, right? The presidents wear it under their clothes because it's not a good visual that the president has, walks around that way. It's obscured for a reason. And the same goes with the mask. In that portion, he did wear a mask and a shield where his eyes were covered and everything prior to that. And there are pictures, and I put them up on Twitter. It's being widely reported. When he came out for the press conference, it was for a press event. He did not wear the mask or the face covering. And look at that video, how far away he is from the Ford executives and the reporters. He's like 10 feet away from the nearest person. I mean, there's no...
That's the whole point.
Yeah, exactly. It's absurd. Although, when I go to Starbucks this morning, see, people don't know this at Starbucks. When you go to the drive-thru at Starbucks and you pull up an order, you can't see them, but they can see you. They have a camera on the drive-thru menu at Starbucks so they can see you. That's why I always take my Trump hat off when I go to Starbucks, because
Are you afraid they're going to spit in your Corvette?
there are not very many baristas at Starbucks that love Trump. Okay, so I always take, because they can see you. But anyway, this has happened to me twice this week. I order my coffee, and then they say, could you please put on a face covering before you drive up to the drive-through window to pick up your coffee? I'm serious. They've done it twice. They did it today, and they did it earlier this week. There's a Starbucks I go to now. It's right across the street from Ace Hardware Deerfield, just south of Hillsborough. And it's so interesting because I go to Starbucks in Palm Beach County. I go to Starbucks in Broward County. In Palm Beach County, they don't, no mask, they don't request it. They just hand you your coffee. In Broward...
Can't you find a more Trump-oriented business to...
At 5 a.m.? No, there's not much, no. At the Broward County Starbucks, it's totally different. And not only do they say on the drive, could you please put on your mask before you drive up, they don't hand you your coffee. They put the coffee in a
Throw it in your face.
close. That's if you wear the Trump hat. No, they put the coffee in a tray, and they hold the tray out as far as they can with their arm, and then you remove the coffee from the tray, so you're even further apart. So you're further apart. And the way I was talking about this on the show Monday before you were here. The way that this is the Starbucks across the street from Ace Hardware Deerfield, just south of Hillsboro on US 1. The way they're handling the coffee at the Starbucks across from Ace Hardware Deerfield, it's kind of like they're handling the IEDs in the Hurt Locker. I mean, and they seem terrified that they're working. They seem uncomfortable. They seem terrified.
They know what's in it.
Yeah, no, that just but you don't see this in Palm Beach County, which is just a couple blocks away. And what that tells me is Broward County is a lot more liberal than Palm Beach County. You've got these snowflake liberals that are terrified, and in Palm Beach County you have Trump people more so, and the population just don't seem to be as there's a big difference in tone. Listen, we got to take our last break of the day. All right.
And let us check in
after the break.
After the break.
Mm-hmm.
After the break, we will be right back.
The owner of Ace Hardware Deerfield and BJ's Hardware wants you and your family to be
Steve Kane
protected
Show.
during the coronavirus pandemic, and has an incredible offer.
Hey, I don't think we're going to get to any calls right now, but if you want to hold, you can, but I'm not sure if we're going to have time. Just to okay, great. Then.
So the best thing that we came up with was a face cover. Cover your face, though.
A couple days ago, but we'll talk. I got the video going. Yeah. We'll hear next week. Next week we'll. Hey there, hold on. Oh, we're going to be off Monday, but back Tuesday, just to give you a heads up. Great, hold on. Okay, I got a caller. I'll do the Youngerman's on the line. I'll do the intro for her. But okay. When we get to her.
Wow, what a great deal. These bandanas are reusable because you can wash them. So stop into Ace Hardware in Deerfield, just south of Hillsboro Boulevard on the west side of US 1, and Beach Ace Hardware, located at 232 Commercial Boulevard, Lauderdale by
Hi,
the Sea.
I'm going to put you on. We're going to be in break for a couple minutes, but when we pick you up, you're going to be live on the show, okay? All right, okay, hold on. Okay, Youngerman first.
And we are back. It is that time that not only me, I was going to say that I wait for, but I know there are thousands of you out there that pay special attention to the Gold Report, because you've been following William Youngerman through the years. William has been advising clients on trends and movements in the precious metals for over 50 years. He really knows his stuff. And we've been on a roll lately with these precious metals. Those of you who listen to William's advice are in good shape. Plus, I want to remind you that I think yesterday we went through a little pullback. I hope you all took advantage of it. William, what's it looking like this morning? I sure can.
Steve Kane Show. I don't have time right now. I don't have time.
That is the name of the game. And by the way, those of you out there who have left Father's Day till the last minute, great opportunity to select a gift for Dad.
Oh, yeah.
At
That William Youngman with a watch.
William Youngman watch code. Gorgeous collection of watches. Tell them how it works.
The number.
All right, there you have it. William, located at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca. Call him on the phone, 1-800-327-5010, or go to the website, williamyoungerman.com. William, have a great weekend. We'll speak next week, all right? All right, you take care. And William Youngerman, drop by. Good time to get involved.
And now for everybody out there, we will be running a best of show. That's a fancy word for a rerun. But we will not be here live on Monday, back live on Tuesday. Now, we are on the cutting edge on the Steve Kane Radio Show always. I mean, we're always ahead of the game. The most discussed story in the news today is wearing a mask or don't wear a mask, when and how, and what kind of mask to wear because of the president at the Ford factory in Michigan yesterday. And on the line, a few months back, we had Chun on the program, who's a healthcare administrator, okay, and with a specialty in epidemiology and community health. And this is a great opportunity for us to find out what you're supposed to do mask-wise, because we're in a new phase now, right? We're in depending on what county you're in, you know, but we're in a different phase than we were before, and it's a big controversy. So on the line, so we have Chun. We're going to talk a little bit about masks.
Hello. Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, this is the thing about this story today. President Trump gave a press conference at the Ford plant yesterday without a mask. He wore one while he was touring the plant earlier. But when he wasn't wearing a mask, I noticed he was about 8 to 10 feet away from the nearest person. In a situation like that, is it okay not to wear a mask?
It may be essential also for him when he's speaking, when he's able to conduct himself, to not wear it in that situation, but it's not completely recommended. It's not the safest thing to be doing.
Maybe you can straighten this question out for me. I learned, much to my amazement a couple of days ago, that the mask is primarily not to protect you. The mask, now this is a rumor that's going around. I'm kind of bouncing it off you because you can separate the wheat from the chaff. You know what's true and what's not true. Is a mask largely defensive?
Well, you know, someone told me the other day, Chun, and I don't know if this is true or not, but they told me that the mask that you should wear, a way to test whether or not the mask is good is to try to blow out a candle while wearing the mask. And if you can blow out the candle, the mask is no good. If you can't, the mask is good. Yeah.
It's very difficult to find masks where that is used, right? The idea here is that we want to restrict those droplets from getting out. And so there was a study done recently here in Florida, actually, where they were able to limit that with even just a face covering.
They run.
However, it's not limited by much. So in addition to that, one of the CDC guidelines recommends to optimize the face mask is to wear a face shield. So that can also help kind of block that.
You know, I saw, this seemed kind of ridiculous, but when I saw it, it seemed to make sense too. I saw a video online of a woman who went shopping and she couldn't get a mask, and she actually wore a Buzz Lightyear Halloween costume helmet over her head, like the space helmet, and it was completely enclosed in plastic, but it was clear plastic. She could see out of it, but she couldn't find a mask, and she's walking around in this Buzz Lightyear space helmet. And I heard some medical experts say, well, it may look bizarre, but it's effective. Yeah, it works. So things like so that works as well.
Can cling on to that virus as readily. So it's the difference between plastic and cotton, right? So that's why it's very important, even when you're wearing your face mask, to be careful how you're touching it. You know, don't touch the outside surface, then touch your face. Wash your hands right before you deal with it. Fold it in half with the outside covering and keep it safe. There's a multitude of things to keep in mind when you're using this, but absolutely a face shield, and even in this situation.
You have the face shield, Steve. You have a face shield.
Yes.
You got it from Richard Perle.
Yes,
It's Simply
I did.
Natural.
Yes, I did. It's
Yeah.
very comfortable.
I see it. You know what? I see, when I go out and about, I see a lot of people with face shields and a mask. They wear a mask and a face shield.
Talk about overkill.
Well, no, I mean, because you're stopping things from going into your eyes.
Are we out of proportion with this? That's what I want to know. Are we reacting more strongly than we need to on the issue of masks?
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, I'll tell you, Chun, yesterday, you know, I do wear a mask, and I wear it a lot, and it drives Steve nuts. Well, no, I'm obsessed with being healthy. But here's the thing. Yesterday, usually I wear the mask for a few minutes at a time. I go into the store, I put it on, or, you know. Yesterday, I went to the mall with my daughter. First time we've been to the mall together in like months, because the malls have just reopened. And you have to wear the mask inside the mall. And I had the mask on for the longest period of time I ever have had it on, and it was rough. It was rough. And I'm inside an air-conditioned place. And I don't know how realistic it is. Here we are. It's going to be 93 degrees over the weekend. Here in South Florida is going to be the high. And it's still just May.
Well, you're not supposed to wear it outside.
If you're in groups around people, absolutely. So how realistic is it that people are going to wear masks in the Florida heat as we're getting into this hot time of the summer? I see them disappearing quick.
How about the Florida rain?
Oh, well, yeah, right. But it's getting to be way too hot for me personally to wear a mask for an extended period of time.
All right, I'm going to ask you on our final question to play fortune teller here. All right, this is just to get your opinion. If we came back 10 years from today to the day, 10 years, do you think What do you think the status of masks in our society will be 10 years from today? Starting on the one end of the scale, non-existent, to even more, on the other end of the scale, more preoccupied than we are today. What would you guess?
We have seconds left, just
1
seconds.
to 10.
Less than a minute. Less than a minute. Less than a minute.
We want everyone to
You know, I think it's going to go the way of after 9/11. People took a lot of security precautions when they flew and things like that, and now people have lost their fear of that, so they don't. I in 10 years, 5 years, I think for the most part, except in high risk people, they'll be gone. Listen, Jim, we are all out of time for the week. Thanks for all the great information, and
Always a pleasure to hear from you.
yeah, we look forward to speaking to you again in the future. Oh, please. No problem. No problem. Well, again, listen, everyone. We are going to be off on Monday, back live on Tuesday. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Take care. Have a great weekend.
95.3 FM, 96.
All right.
FM,
All right, guys. Take care. Make sure you
FM,
subscribe. Make
and
sure you subscribe.
1470 W.